Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a different kind of video for you guys. This video will be my Trolling Scammers playlist. If you're unfamiliar with this series, this is a series in which I piss off scammers and I also talk about scams, warn people about them, and how you can avoid being a victim. But this video is going to be a bit different, because in this video we're going to be talking about this false misinformation that people spread around, this false perception that people have, thinking that India is like this heartland of scammers. They think that the vast majority of scammers in the world are in India, which that's just not true. It's not true, and I'm also gonna have a lot of proof and facts and links that actually back up my claims. But there's plenty of scammers all over the world. There are certain scams that are more common in certain countries, like the tech support scammers are more common in India than in other countries, but there's actually certain scams in America that's actually more common than in India. So the point that I'm getting at is that certain scams are more common in certain countries, but I'm going to get to all of that. I know people don't have time to watch the whole video, so I have timestamps down below, but India is not this scam heartland that a lot of people think it is. I see so many comments of people thinking that all the scammers in the world are in India, which is it's just not true. Now, I will also say this, is think about if you're Italian or you're an Italian American, chances are there's probably some Italian Americans that are going to watch this video. How do you feel about the mafia? Just thinking about that. You probably hate the mafia if you're an Italian American. I mean, everybody hates the mafia, but if you're an Italian American, you probably especially hate the mafia, because it's just the fact that the mafia causes such a bad name for Italians and just for Italian Americans, Italy in general. When people think of the mafia, what do a lot of people think of? Unfortunately, they think of Italians. That's what they think of when they think of the mafia. They think Italian gangsters primarily, but the reality is that there's so many different kinds of mafias around the world. There's the American mafia, which is not just Italian mafia. There's Mexican mafia, there's Russian mafia, there's triads, which are Chinese mafia, there's Yakuza, which is Japanese mafia. So the point that I'm getting at is there's so many mafias around the world, but when people think the word mafia, they think Italians primarily when they think of that. And so that's a negative perception that Italy has. It's a stereotype for Italy. Italy and India are both beautiful countries. And so there's these false misconceptions that people have about it. And also, I will say the same thing about Eastern European Slavs. My parents are from Poland. And do you know what is the most common scam in Eastern Europe? The most common scam that happens there? It's actually insurance fraud, where people will actually, people will back up into your car slowly, demand money, or they'll actually fall on top of your car when you're driving at like 5 miles per hour, about to be at a stop sign. And then they'll claim to you, pay me a bunch of zloty, which is Polish money, or I'm going to report this to the police. And there's just so much insurance frauds in Eastern Europe, Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia. The reason that so many people have dash cams in those countries, people see these crazy Russian car crashes on YouTube, and they think that people in Eastern Europe can't drive. But the reality is that people in Eastern Europe are just as good drivers as anywhere else in the world. The reason that you see so many car crashes in Eastern Europe on YouTube is because the vast majority of people in Eastern Europe have dash cams. And they have dash cams because the insurance fraud scams have gotten so out of control. And whenever Western Europeans, when they think of insurance fraud, what do they think of? They typically think of Slavs, Eastern Europeans that are doing this, because the insurance fraud has just gotten so out of control. But there's also different scams in Western Europe that are also pretty common that Slavs are not going to be involved in. So the point that I'm getting at is that there is this negative perception that people have, where they think that Slavs are insurance fraudsters, or they think that Indians are like tech support scammers, or they think that like Italians are like gangsters. But a lot of this is just nonsense. It's based on stereotypes that just came from these countries. But we're gonna get around that, and I'm gonna show you guys a lot of evidence that in America, there's actually one tech support scam that's actually done primarily by Americans. It's not even done by Indians. And this tech support scam is actually the most common scam in America. Has anybody ever heard of the extended car warranty scam? That one. You get that phone message, your car's extended warranty has, expired, call us now. That's a scam. And here's the thing is, that scam, that extended warranty scam, is done primarily by Americans. It's primarily done by Americans. If you actually call the number back on there, you'll be connected to an American. You almost always talk to an American whenever you're dealing with that. And that scam, the extended car warranty scam, has gotten so out of control that I actually have the statistics for this right here. I actually had an AARP article. But it says here that 13 billion calls in 2021 from that extended car warranty scam. And so there's not 13 billion people in America. There's about 330 million people, but it means that people have been called multiple times. And so this accounts for 18%. The extended car warranty scam, which is a scam that's done primarily by Americans, is done by 18% of all scam calls in America. Is that And so whenever you think of the scam calls, people think, oh, it's the gift card scammers that are calling me from India, or the IRS, scammers from India. You're calling me, telling me I have to go and buy gift cards to pay back my taxes. But the reality is, you actually have more of a chance of being called by these American extended car warranty scammers than you do by these Indian tech support scammers. And I will actually, I'll actually explain what that extended car warranty scam is in this video, but the point that I'm getting at is that people have this negative false perception of India. India is a beautiful country, and it's a rising superpower. India is actually getting into the phone market right now. They're actually starting to produce a lot of the world's smartphones, and it's actually taking away business from China. China is actually getting really pissed off about this, and India, ever since India got its independence from British colonialism, India's GDP has actually been rising, has been skyrocketing in recent years. So India is a rising superpower, but a lot of people think have this negative false view that it's this extremely really poor country, and they think that it's just full of scammers, which is just not true. Indian Americans are also the highest earners in America, and not only that, but they are also some of the top CEOs in America. So Indian Americans are very hard workers, and I just don't like it. Also, when people constantly associate Indians with scams, I don't think it's fair. And what people don't seem to understand is that Indians hate these people too, these scammers, because they make their country and their people look bad. It brings a negative view to India. It brings negative attention to India. So a lot of Indians hate these scammers as well. They just cause their country to look bad. And they also are victims of these scams as well, which I'll actually talk about a little bit later in this video. But like I said, think about how Italians just hate the mafia, makes their country look bad, is the same concept of Indians hating these scammers. And no, Indian culture does not support these scammers. I don't know why people think this. I've seen comments of people saying this. No, it does not. I can't think of any culture in the world that is honestly okay with scammers. And here's another thing I'll say about this, and this is something that a lot of my Indian viewers have told me. I actually didn't know about this, but in India, they take honor very seriously when it comes to the families. And so the police in India does have a tech support scammer problem, and the police in India, they are very incompetent at catching these scammers, these tech support scammers. Oftentimes, they don't care about them. The police are not doing their jobs in India, which I'll talk about that later. The police are the number one reason the scams are out of control in India. That is the number one reason why. It's not because of Indians, it's because the police are just incompetent. They aren't doing their job, and they're either don't care or they're in on it. But I'll expose the police corruption, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But basically, that is the main reason. It is the Indian police that are not doing their job. That's why the tech support scams have skyrocketed. But about what some of my Indian viewers have told me is that in India, honor is taken very seriously, especially when it comes to the family. I actually did not know this. And so if you actually do something bad, you have a chance of disgracing your entire family's honor. And so if you actually disgrace your family's honor, your family will probably exile you from the family. They will refuse to talk to you. They will not communicate with you. They will not interact with you at all. And so the point that I'm getting at is that if you actually find these scammers, and if you report them to the Indian police, they're probably not going to do anything. But if you actually find out what the scammers, there's those YouTubers that are, tracking down those scammers constantly. If you find out, the scammer's family, I'm not saying to harass them or anything like that, but if you tell them, for example, you tell them your family member is involved in these scams and you prove it to them, that actually will probably do more damage than reporting it to the Indian police, because the family will exile that person. They will refuse to talk to that person anymore. Honor is taken very seriously in this regard. So no, Indian culture does not promote scamming. It's a false misconception that people have, and honor is taken very seriously. A family finds out their family member is doing scams, they're going to exile them, and they're going to refuse to communicate with them at all. But anyways, let me get to some of my points here. Let me guys show you some statistics on India. Okay, so remember what I was saying about the police guys before in India, is that the police need serious reform. It's not Indian culture. It's not that Indians are more prone to committing scams than anyone else. The reason the scams are getting so out of control is because the police are not doing their jobs. When the police do not do their jobs, crime gets out of control. Criminals see that. Criminals notice when the police aren't doing their job, and they take advantage of the situation. It's similar with Nigeria. I recently did a video about the Nigerian police, and the cyber police were not taking it seriously, which is actually why there's so many scams in Nigeria. Nigerians are not more prone to committing scams than anyone else. The reason that there's so many telephone scams also from Nigeria is because the police are not prosecuting these people. They're not cracking down on these people, and so criminals notice that. It's the same thing in my country. You have cities I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm going to stay away from that. But I'm going to say that in places like California, they passed, I think it was Proposition 47, a couple of years ago. Proposition 47 is basically a law that says that when you steal under $950 worth of stuff, it is a misdemeanor. It is not a felony. After $950 for stealing, it is a felony. So before that, most shoplifting, a lot of shoplifting, if you stole hundreds of dollars from merchandise in California, it was considered a felony. A felony is a crime where you're punished by 1 year in prison. When that proposition, that law was passed, guess what happened? Shoplifting is skyrocketing. Shoplifting is increasing. I'll show you right here. This is from the Public Policy Institute of California. Retail thefts and robberies have risen across California. This is from 2023. And you see, shoplifting was pretty high here. It fell actually right here in 2020. The reason it fell is because of the pandemic. Stores were closed, so you're not gonna have shoplifting because stores were just closed. So that's just why it's falling. But then look, is that right when the pandemic opened, it's going back up. It's increasing. And then now we have here, Bay Area experienced the largest increase recently in shoplifting rates. In Bay Area, this is like San Francisco. But take a look at this. You see, like 2019 is black, 2022 is the orange. And you see, some places, shoplifting has gone down. But then if you actually look, Fresno is going back up. And here, San Francisco, look at this, 24%. And then San Mateo has almost had a double amount of increase. It's because of that stupid law that was passed in California. I'll show you guys an example here more. So this right here is an example of the shoplifting in San Francisco and how that stupid law, Proposition 47, had basically caused a lot of increases in
Their brazen theft at a San Francisco drugstore caught on video. It comes after the governor and local officials pledged to crack down on crime that has forced so many stores to close down. Our crime reporter Henry Lee joins us now live. He's at SFPD headquarters with the latest. Henry.
Yeah, it's been happening over and over, Julie. Thieves thinking they can steal things with impunity, thinking they will never get caught. This is an issue that brought a candidate for governor to San Francisco today.
It's happened again. 4 women run off after stealing from the...
People will just run into stores in San Francisco and just steal so much stuff and just run out in broad daylight.
CVS pharmacy at Van Ness and Jackson in San Francisco, this time just before 6 Monday night. It's the latest grab-and-go crime in San Francisco that's forced many drugstores in the city to close. The man who took this video tells me he feels sorry for the workers who have lost their jobs or have had their hours reduced because of what he called out-of-control shoplifting.
This is one thing a lot of people don't know. When I used to work in retail, when our store actually got people shoplifted a lot, we would actually get our hours cut. So this hurts the workers too.
Organized retail theft has become such a hot-button issue that it's now a point of focus in the upcoming gubernatorial recall election. Former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer spoke outside the shuttered Walgreens at Larkin and Bush in San Francisco,
a lot of stores are shut down because of this.
blasting the governor.
A governor who has supported the lessening of laws when it comes to stealing items under $950, lowering those consequences.
At a news conference last week, Newsom said he signed a new law that maintains task forces across the state that crack down on retail theft. San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott supports the legislation.
When they see these things go viral, the perception of lawlessness, the perception that anything goes, really, that has to be overcome too.
Now, three of the top cities for organized retail theft in the United States are in California. LA's number 1, San Francisco's number 5, and Sacramento is number 10. Reporting live at SFPD headquarters, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News. All right.
Damn. So all of those top, so let me see that again.
Sacramento is number 10. In the United States, cities for organized retail. Now, three of the top cities for organized retail theft in the United States are in California. LA's number 1, San Francisco's number 5, and Sacramento is number 10.
So after this stupid law was passed, it's not a coincidence that that 3 cities, that Los Angeles, Sacramento, and San Francisco, that these are some of the top cities in America for organized shoplifting rings. So what I'm gonna say here is that, like I said, I'm not going to get into politics. This is not a political channel, but is that setting up a task force to combat shoplifting is going to be useless if you still give them a slap on the wrist. If they just get a slap on the wrist for stealing, if there's not actual penalties for that, having a task force is going to be irrelevant because they're just going to keep doing it. There needs to be stricter punishments for this. Having a task force is great, but there needs to be stricter punishment specifically for this. But relating this to India is, look at what happened in California when they basically made it so that when you steal $950 for under $950 for stuff, it's a misdemeanor. Shoplifting has skyrocketed. Stores have been closing in the Bay Area. People just run into stores and just mass shoplift. they mass steal. These are organized gangs of people that are doing this. This is a chart right here that shows the number, and this is another thing. The number of sworn officers assigned to Chicago's police districts has dropped nearly 20% since Lightfoot took office. Sworn CPD members by district February 2023 versus April 2019. Again, I'm not getting into the politics, staying away from that. But basically, is the politicians in Chicago are just anti-police, a lot of them. I understand there's bad cops out there. I studied law enforcement. But the solution to dealing with bad cops is to investigate them, fire them, and arrest them depending on what they did. Is you don't reduce the amount of police officers just because of a few bad cops. You don't do something like that. So you see here, look at this. These are the numbers here from this. Like, change in officers. District 1, minus 83. District 2, minus 1112. Minus 67. Minus 101. Minus 51. So literally, there has not been an increase in cops anywhere, and it hasn't even stayed. So literally, look at this. Only maybe district, 17, 9 extra cops. And then here, just one extra cop, so 0% change. So the point that I'm getting at here is, look at this. Chicago's nation homicide capital for 12 straight years. Chicago versus big city peers, New York and Los Angeles, total criminal homicides by year. Look at this, the rate. Look at this, and especially in recent years. Look at this. From 2019, 495, 771, 2020, 804, 709, 617. And it could probably go up to 700 this year in Chicago, too. Chicago has a serious gang problem. So the reason this is relevant to me talking about India is because I'm showing my own country, America. This is what happens when you defund the police. This is what happens when you do not let the police do their jobs, or you have stupid laws that prevent the courts, the police from enforcing the law and punishing these people. What will happen is criminals will take advantage of that. They will see that. So these in California's example, the organized shoplifters, they see that new law, they know that it's going to get a slap on the wrist. What are they doing? They're going to start committing shoplifting on a mass scale. In Chicago, what's going to happen? Gangs in Chicago see there's less police on the streets. There's less active police. Both the mayor, the last mayor, and the current mayor constantly attack the police. They constantly, the current mayor has called for defunding the police in the past. He's like, oh, I never said that. He has very much said that. And look at his policies. Look at their policies. Look at what they're doing. They are not letting the police enforce their jobs. When I was studying in school, we learned about something called the broken windows theory. What the broken windows theory basically is it's this idea that, for example, let's say that a window gets broken. You know, somebody throws a rock through a window, the window gets smashed, right? That the window doesn't get fixed. The person just leaves their property as is. What's going to happen because of that? Criminals are going to see there's going to be more vandalism because of that. More stuff is going to get broken. The police don't do anything about that. Property owner doesn't fix it up too. What's going to happen? Next step, graffiti. Graffiti is going to be all over the place. The police aren't going to do anything about that. They're not going to investigate that. Criminals are going to see. What's going to happen? Even more graffiti. And the police aren't going to do anything about that. Criminals are going to take the next step after that. What they're going to do is they're going to start selling drugs. And those drugs are oftentimes going to get people addicted. People are going to get addicted to drugs. And what's going to happen is that people get addicted to drugs. They need to pay for the drug habit. They're going to start committing burglaries, home invasions, robberies to pay for their drug habits. And again, the police are not doing anything in those areas. The criminals are going to see it, and they're going to openly sell drugs. They're not going to care. And then what's going to happen is those drug dealers are going to be backed by rival gang members, rival gangs. And those gangs are going to start fighting each other for turf. That's how a good neighborhood goes bad. That's exactly what happened in Chicago. Is a lot of these neighborhoods in Chicago, in the South Side, they weren't as dangerous as they are now in the past. But what happened was because there was a lack of enforcement, there was a lack of police in that area, criminals saw that. Criminals took advantage of the situation, and it went from being the idea of broken windows is that when you have a small crime, you need to deal with it quickly. Because if you ignore small crimes, eventually you're going to have medium crimes. You ignore the medium crimes, you're eventually going to have big crimes, and then eventually it's going to turn into giant and worse crimes. So it's going to like create a whole domino effect, a whole chain of different crimes popping up. So the point that I'm getting at is in both of these instances, in both Chicago, Illinois, and in California, specifically in San Francisco, is the police have either been defunded or they have not been able to do their job. And because of that, crime has skyrocketed. Now, let's take a look at India right here. This is a chart right here that shows the average police spending in India. This is all the different states that are in India. India has a lot of states. And the scammers. The scams primarily happen in 3 cities. They happen in a lot of places, but from when I've seen a lot of videos on just, you know, these YouTubers who hack into these scammers, they track down these scammers, they find out where these scammers are, and I've noticed a pattern. I've noticed these 3 cities. I've noticed Kolkata, Ahmedabad, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and then the other one is Bangalore. So those three cities. Those three cities have a massive corruption problem, and not only do they have a massive corruption problem, but in those three cities, the police are actually defunded in those three cities. So take a look at this chart, police spending per capita in India, and I'll link my sources down below just so that you guys can take a look at this. But this will, this shows you the average rupees, Indian rupees, that is spent on the police. Rupees are rupees are Indian currency, I'm sorry. Losing my track of thought here. But here's the thing is, Kolkata is in the state of West Bengal. Look at that, 909. It's actually on the low end here. And Delhi is actually the capital. So you see here, Delhi, the capital region. Delhi, the police are just much better funded in Delhi. But then we take a look at Bangalore. Bangalore is in the state of Karnataka, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. 943 on here. And then we also have Ahmedabad. Let me just see here. Ahmedabad. I'm sorry if I'm just pronouncing it incorrectly, guys. I'm trying. But if I butcher the pronunciation, I'm sorry. It's in the state of Gujarat. And look at this. Gujarat is the second least funded police state in India. 761. It is a little bit above Bihar. So the point that I'm getting at is those three states that I just listed tend to have a lot of the call centers, a lot of the scam operations happen there. And so what's going to happen is the police have less funding in those areas, and the tech support scammers, they're going to see that, and they're going to see, oh, I can set up a call center in Kolkata. The police are not going to do anything about it. And also, if they scam Americans, if they scam foreigners, is the police are going to less likely to do that and do anything about that too, because they're not scamming their people. So the police are going to look at that, and they're going to be like, oh, well, you know, they're targeting primarily foreigners. They're targeting Americans. It's not right, but that's the way a lot of the police, like in a place like Kolkata, think. They basically look at the situation, and they basically think, oh, you know, they're not scamming our people. They are scamming Americans, and so it's not really our problem. It's not really our concern. That's why these call centers don't tend to get raided. Even when a lot of these YouTubers hack into their cameras and they call the police don't raid them for that reason. So they think that a lot of the police in like places like Kolkata or Bangalore, they basically think that Americans have like stacks of cash, similar to the Nigerian police. They think that Americans have stacks of cash lying around, and they think that Americans are all rich people, and they think, oh, Americans can take a hit. That's basically what they think. They think it's not a big deal, and so they're not going to investigate it. But I've seen a few comments from you guys telling me that Kolkata is actually the most corrupt city in India. When I googled it, people said Bangalore, but I've seen a lot of comments of people telling me that it's Kolkata. So I guess Kolkata is like India's Chicago. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But Kolkata has a massive corruption problem, and I'll actually show you guys something else. This is when I was doing more research about this, because I've done a lot of research about this. This guy right here, West Bengal, that's the state, again, where Kolkata is. If you take a look right here, West Bengal senior IPS official Rajiv Kumar promoted. So this is a police official that's been promoted, and this police official was involved in corruption, serious corruption, and he's been promoted. Let's just take a look at this video here really quick. So basically the backstory behind this is this senior cop who was previously some kind of an investigator. His name was Rajiv Kumar. He was promoted to the district or director general of the police of West Bengal, so the same state that Kolkata is in. This happened 5 months ago, so nearly half a year ago. The good news is that he actually was removed a couple months after this, but it just shows you that there's this massive corruption problems that somebody like this guy was actually appointed the director general of police. And we're also going to talk about what he did in a little bit in the scam that he was actually involved in. But let's just watch this right now.
Rajiv Kumar, a senior IPS official, has now been appointed as the Director General of Bengal Police. He is an official who is touted to be close to State Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. The BJP has lashed out at this move, calling it a gift from the Mamata Banerjee-led government after Kumar allegedly bailed her out from the Sharda scam. The CBI had accused Kumar of destroying evidence in the case while he was leading a special investigation team that was probing the case. The Sharda scam was a financial scam that came to light in 2013. It was a Ponzi scheme that was reportedly led by the Sharda group. BJP has alleged Mamata Banerjee's involvement in the scam.
So about this guy was involved in helping to cover up the Sharda the scam, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I'll show a link explaining it in a little bit. But basically, the backstory is this was a scam that happened in 2013, and it primarily affected West Bengal. And this was apparently an investor group. If any of my Indian viewers, if any of you guys know more about this case and about this guy, please post in the comments. I'd love to read your comments on it. But basically, from what I've read, it was a Ponzi scheme scam. It was this investment group which had convinced like 1.5 million people invested. So like 1.5 million around there people invested. I know it's a little bit over 1 million people that invested into this scam. And basically, this company had defrauded all of these people. And so this wasn't just rich investors. We're not just talking multimillionaires that lost their money. We're talking about a lot of poor people also lost a lot of money to this. There was like poor investors that were putting their money into this company because they wanted a nice retirement, and this company ended up stealing a lot of their money. This guy was actually in charge of part of the investigation, and he helped cover up evidence. He helped hide evidence. And in 2019, there was some more information revealed on it, that he had covered up something specific in the investigation. I'm not sure the specific thing that he covered up, but I know that there was a lot of corruption allegations against this guy. And not getting into politics here, but I know the BJP party in India really don't like this guy, and they have actually complained about this guy being appointed the Director General of the police. So there are people in India, there are actually politicians in India who are actually trying to do something about this. And so they are trying to crack down on the corruption in a place like West Bengal, and they have complained about this guy. So BJP, I think that's the party that's mostly in charge right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the party the prime minister is from. But anyways, they have tried to do something about this guy, and the election commission actually ended up removing this guy a couple months after. But this guy's trouble. The fact that this guy got appointed Director General of Police. What the hell? Why did this guy get appointed the Director General? This guy should not be anywhere near being Director General of Police.
রাজীব কুমার বেসিক্যালি একজন দক্ষ পুলিশ অফিসার। মাঝখানে কিছু টার্মোয়েল গেছিল, আপনারা সবাই জানেন। আমার সঙ্গে একটা দূরত্ব তৈরি হয়ে যায় নির্দিষ্ট কিছু কারণে। এই কিছুকাল আগে কালী পুজোর দিন বহুকাল বাদে মাননীয় মুখ্যমন্ত্রী বাড়িতে।
I don't think there's subtitles on this part. Hold on.
All right, let's go to
This guy is trouble.
Adrija, who's joining us from Kolkata. Adrija, controversial cop who allegedly helped cover up Sharda scam, has now been appointed as the new DGP of Bengal.
So right here, BJP condemns it.
Bengal. BJP, of course, condemning this move. Give us a sense of the politics that's playing out as a result of this
Sarada scam cover-up.
See, the present DGP, Manoj Malviya, he has retired during the day on Wednesday, and then on Wednesday a formal notification was given out to Rajiv Kumar, where he was appointed as the next Director General of Police of Bengal. And right after this appointment announcement comes in, Shubhendu Adhikari, the leader of opposition, who was earlier in the day a close associate of Mamata Banerjee, he has lashed out saying that this is just a gift by the Mamata Banerjee government to Rajiv Kumar, especially for bailing Mamata Banerjee out of the Sharda scam, the financial scam that has taken place a couple of years ago. And of course, now this announcement coming in, definitely opposition lashing out at this decision that has been taken. But yes, Rajiv Kumar is being appointed as the Director General of Bengal Police, and his name was also suggested by the State Bengal's cabinet. And yesterday he was given the formal notification where he will be stepping into the post, and he will be taking over. He will be working as an acting DGP at the moment, because Manoj Malviya has retired, and of course politics around it going on because opposition coming out and slamming Mamata Banerjee government for this step.
Right.
Okay, so basically what I'm getting at here is the entire Indian government is not to blame for a lot of the scams that go on in India and a lot of the corruption that happens in India. There are parts of the government that are actually trying to do their jobs, specifically in the federal government, but the state of West Bengal and Kolkata, I'm sorry, just everything that I've just read about the West Bengal and Kolkata, there's a serious corruption problem that is going on there. And so the fact that what the hell is wrong with the West Bengal government that this guy ended up getting appointed Director General of Police? However, though, there is good news. Just take a look at this right here. So the guy ended up getting removed. This is March 19, 2024. So this is about 2.5 months ago. The guy ended up getting removed.
Mega political war has erupted after former Bengal DGP was replaced by the Election Commission. On Monday, IPS officer Vivek Sahai replaced Bengal DGP Rajiv Kumar. The ruling Trinamool Congress slammed the central government for this move. TMC claimed that BJP is controlling the Election Commission of India and the Saffron Party is using agencies for their benefits and has demanded a Supreme Court monitored Lok Sabha election, adding that the people of West Bengal stand with Mamata. Now, the BJP rained fire on the Trinamool Congress. They stated that Rajiv Kumar was part of the TMC cadre and he was replaced because the Election Commission felt that he won't be able to conduct free and fair polls. On the other hand, West Bengal Congress President Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary expressed that they were happy with this decision as Rajiv Kumar was flattering the ruling Trinamool government and he never paid any heed, allegedly, to any complaints that were filed by the Congress party.
So this is the other so let me just hear that again. I think this is the other political party
he never
here.
paid any heed, allegedly, to any complaints that were filed by the Congress party.
So this was the other let me just hang on.
That they were happy with this decision as Rajiv Kumar was flattering the ruling Trinamool government and he never paid any heed, allegedly, to any complaints that were filed by the Congress party.
So in India there are basically two main political parties. There is the Indian Congress and then the BJP. I know that BJP stands for Bharat Party. I don't know what the J stands for, so I'm sorry for that, BJP. But anyways, the Indian Congress was also complaining about this guy, saying that he did not adhere to any of their complaints. So both the main political parties in India both don't like this guy, and this guy is trouble.
Allegedly to any complaints that were filed by the Congress party.
They are trying their best to grab different organizations, including ECI. They have taken over.
I don't know what TMC is. I'm not sure what that is.
The control of central agencies, etc., in different organizations. So, in this case also, after announcement of Lok Sabha election, what today we have seen, that is the reflection of BJP is trying their best to grab and monitor the functioning of this kind of organizations.
ये सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी की, खासकर सरकार की, इतना ज्यादा चापलूसी कर रहे थे कि लोगों सबको पता चले कि ये सरकार की आदेश बिना कोई काम.
The new DGP is Vivek Sahai, unless he got changed again. But if I'm wrong, if it's another DGP, I'm sorry on that. But basically is this guy? I know that one party is accusing like BJP of using the election commission here. I'm not going to get into politics of it. I don't know too much about Indian politics. The only thing I'm going to say is I don't think there's anything political about removing this guy from power, because this guy showed that he can't be trusted. This Rajiv Kumar guy, this has a history of just bad stuff to his name. He helped to cover up that scam that was going on. There's numerous complaints he doesn't respond to. So basically, the reason that there's so many scam call centers in Kolkata is because of people like Rajiv Kumar. It's people like him in charge of the police. There is a massive corruption problem there. So there's call center scams all over India. But like I said, is that you have places like Bangalore, you have Kolkata, and then you have also Ahmedabad. But from what I've read of you guys telling me that a lot of it is going on in Kolkata. And so this is just Kolkata, like I said, is West Bengal, and you have people like this guy in charge of the police that are just not doing their jobs. They're either corrupt, they're incompetent, or they don't care, or it's a combination of both. Basically that. Also, I will say is that the police are not funded well. They're not paid well, and in places where you actually police don't get paid well. And this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the country. Just all over the world, it's like this. Is wherever the police are not paid well, I'm not saying they should be paid like a ton of money, but if they're being paid also really bad wages, there's corruption. There is a correlation between really low wages for police and corruption. I'm not saying that cops that are making less money are going to be corrupt. However, though, there is more corruption when cops are actually paid less. So cops, their salaries should be increased, not for people like this guy, but like the regular cops, like the regular street cops, regular cops that deal with this stuff, the people who investigate scams, crimes. The regular street cop, their salary should be increased. And I think that if you do that, I think that it will also help. It will encourage more honest people to also join the police. And I will also say is, even if a cop's salary is bad, that's no excuse for corruption. Because you swear an oath to uphold the law. So even if your salary is bad, you should still be upholding the law. There's no excuse for corruption here. There's no reason for corruption. Unfortunately, there are parts of India where there is a really big corruption problem with the police. But I do think that if the government, rolled out a new program, where they increase salaries of cops, maybe some new benefits for like people joining the police, you would have a lot of new recruits that would join the police, staff them better, fund them better, and also maybe have like a task force that investigates police corruption, something like internal affairs. I don't know if India has like their own version of internal affairs. Any of my Indian viewers, if they do, let me know in the comments down below. But internal affairs, it is basically a police force in America that investigates the police. That's pretty much what it is. And so in West Bengal, the government needs to seriously investigate the police. I would say probably the federal government needs to investigate even the state government in West Bengal, because there's just a lot of corruption problems that are going on there. But also, this right here, the Sarada Group financial scandal, this is from Wikipedia. I know people are going to be concerned about Wikipedia, but Wikipedia is mostly reliable. The thing about Wikipedia is the reason that teachers don't want to use Wikipedia is because it's too easy. But Wikipedia is checked by a lot of people, and it's a lot of references. Whenever there's wrong information, it's fixed pretty quickly. But this basically details what that scam was that Kumar guy was involved in. Sarada Group financial scandal was a major political scandal caused by the collapse of the Ponzi scheme run by the Sarada Group, a consortium of over 200 private companies that was believed to be running collective investment schemes popularly but incorrectly referred to as chit funds in eastern India. The group collected around 200 to 300 billion, $4 to $6 billion roughly, from over 1.7 million depositors. So I was wrong. I was saying it's 1.5. It's actually 1.7, so it's 200,000 more people. Before it collapsed in April 2013. In the aftermath of the scandal, the state government of West Bengal, where the Sarada Group and most of its investors was based, instituted an inquiry commission to investigate the collapse. The state government also set up a fund of $5 billion, $60 million to ensure that low-income investors were not bankrupted. Okay, so they did do some good things. The state government did actually give a lot of the low-income investors their money back, but I don't think they gave them all their money back, just so they're not bankrupted. But still, at least they did something to give some people their money back. The central government, through the Income Tax Department and Enforcement Directorate, launched a multi-agency probe to investigate the Sarada scam and similar Ponzi schemes. In May 2014, the Supreme Court of India, due to interstate ramifications, possible international money laundering, serious regulatory failures, and other alleged political nexus, transferred all investigations into the Sarada scam and other Ponzi schemes to the Central Bureau of Investigation, India's federal investigative agency. Many prominent personalities were arrested for their alleged involvement in the scam, including 2 members of parliament, Kunal Ghosh and Srinjoy Bose. So there's people in the government that were also involved in this scam. From the Trinamool Congress, former West Bengal Director General of Police Rajat Majumdar, a top football club official, Sarkar Sports and Transport Minister in the Trinamool Congress government. So there's politicians that were there's politicians that were involved in this. The scam has often been compared to the Sanchayita investment scam, a multi-crore rupee scam that occurred in West Bengal in the 1970s. Complaints related, which led to the formation of the Prize, Chits, and Money Circulation Schemes Act of 1978. So earlier, I didn't know what the TMC political party was, and I decided to do a little bit of research, and I'm not going to go into politics here. I'm not going to talk about the politics of the political party. I'm just mainly going to talk about the controversies. The TMC stands for the Trinamool Congress Party. This is not to be confused with the Indian National Congress Party. The TMC is a party that actually broke away from the National Congress Party, and the TMC are actually the ruling party in West Bengal. And here's the thing about TMC. is both BJP and the Indian National Congress Party have massive problems with this party and have actually accused this party of corruption. And this is actually the exact same political party that was really pissed off about Rajiv Kumar, remember him? You know, the corrupt cop I was talking about, that he was removed as the Director General of Police. They were pissed about that. Both BJP and the Indian National Congress Party, both the main parties, political parties, wanted that guy removed. But this party wanted him to stay in power. And this party has been, I searched them up, and I was able to find right away some corruption scandals. They were involved directly in the Saranda scam. They had ministers that were actually part of that scam, and they have been involved in numerous other controversies and scams. I will actually link their page down below on it. But basically, this party is primarily in charge of West Bengal, and so I am not surprised that the political party that's in charge of West Bengal is involved in a lot of corruption scandals, because there's a lot of corruption in West Bengal, specifically in Kolkata. And about this party, I'll tell you another scummy thing about this party, is the chairperson of this party, her name is Mamata Banjari. I'll talk about her a little bit later, but she sent the police after some guy who actually posted a meme about her. So some guy actually posted a meme about her on Twitter, and she sent the cyber police after that guy, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Let me see, is there anything on Kumar here? Oh, it's not that Kumar. Here we go, Rajiv. This is what we're looking for. In February 19, the CBI interrogated Kolkata Police Commissioner, so he's the police commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, for 39 hours or 5 days in Shillong. This followed a political controversy when the CBI team who had gone to question him had been detained in Kolkata. They were later released, and even as CM Mamata Banerjee was protesting on the Dharna against the arrest of Kumar, the Supreme Court ordered interrogation of Rajiv Kumar at a location outside West Bengal to avoid further showdown. In March 2019, the CBI filed a claim to the Supreme Court against telecom operators Vodafone and Airtel, alleging their non-cooperation in the scam investigation. So there's telecom operators involved in this too, my god. On May 17, 2021, CBI arrested Farhad Hakim, Subrata Mukherjee, Sovan Chatterjee, and Madan Mitra on the charges they took bribes from the Sarada Narada after West Bengal Governor Jaideep Dakar gave the permission to arrest the ministers and won. And let me see, his name I think appears one more time. Oh, it's on that. So he in February 2019 he was investigated for this. So he was involved somehow in this. He helped cover up the evidence in this. And I don't know how this guy ended up getting appointed to Director General of the Police. And so you had politicians that were also involved in this. So this is just a big scam. But the point is that these scams also affect Indians. Indians were directly hurt by this. This was a different kind of scam. This was an investment scam. But Indians are also victims of scams. There's a lot of scams in India that also target Indians. A lot of Indians are also really angry about this, and they're really pissed off at the police. And a lot of Indians blame the police for not taking action against scammers like this. And look at this. This is an article from Times of India, and this says only 25% of Indians trust the police. So a lot of Indians don't have trust in their police either. So the point that I'm getting at here is what I'm saying is don't blame India, don't blame Indians, don't blame Indian culture. If you want to blame somebody for these scams getting out of control, blame governments, blame some of the state governments, like for example the state government of West Bengal, and also you have this the police in these regions. The police, you could blame the police directly for this. The police are not doing their jobs. So a survey conducted in 22 states said that only 25% of Indians trusted the police, as opposed to 54% who trusted the army. So the majority of Indians trust the army because the army protects the borders. But I know India has a conflict with Pakistan, so I think that's where that trust comes in, is that more than half the people trust the army to protect the borders, but only 25% of people trust the police. There's a reason for that. The police have failed to do their jobs in stopping a lot of these scams. The least important attitude with 5% votes was of nonviolent communication. Integrity got 14%, the maximum. Other attitudes included empathy, 10%, sensitivity towards women and children, 10%, fairness and courteous, 9% each. Other attitudes were active listening, humility, and following rules of law. Raja Srivastava said that society must take a balance to bring out a positive change. And Here we got another article, and I'll link also all these articles down below so that you guys can read all of them here. But India's police force among the world's weakest. A brutal attack on a young doctor in West Bengal, allegedly by relatives of a patient who died on June 10, triggered countrywide protests by doctors in the country. The incident highlights not just tensions in doctor-patient relationships, but also points to a lack of respect for the rule of law in the country, which leads mobs to take the law into their own hands to deliver instant justice. That's really dangerous. Here's the thing is, when I do a lot of streams, a lot of people have asked me on streams what my opinion on vigilantes is. Vigilantes basically somebody who takes the law into their own hands. It's illegal what they're doing. My opinion on vigilantes is basically that it's wrong. It's still wrong, even if they're, even if it's people breaking the law to go after criminals. Because the thing is, though, is that if you have a society run by vigilantes, everybody can basically define what the law is, and then you're going to have absolute chaos, and you're going to have mobs of people. They're going to end up taking the law into their own hands. However, though, whenever you have a rise in vigilantism, whenever you have vigilantism pop up anywhere in the world, do you know where vigilantism pops up? Vigilantism usually pops up in places where the police are not doing their jobs. So when the police fail to arrest criminals, when the police fail to stop criminals, you're going to have a rise in vigilantism. So if you want to blame anything on the rise of vigilantism, you blame the police. Like, for example, Mexico, which is a neighboring country to me, there's parts of Mexico where there's been a really big vigilante rise. And it's because the police and the military has not been doing anything in some parts of Mexico to stop the cartels. And so people have gotten pissed off and have basically taken the law into their own hands. I understand those people. It's still they're technically breaking the law, but I understand. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand why people resort to vigilante action a lot of times, because when the police don't do their jobs. I don't know what this incident is about. This doctor protest. I don't know what that is about. So if anybody, any of my Indian viewers can tell me in the comments what this incident is talking about specifically. But also, if any of my Indian viewers, if you guys could tell me, is the new Director General of the Police in West Bengal, is he a good guy? The new guy that's been appointed, is he at least better than that Kumar guy? But anyways, according to a 2018 survey, 15,000 respondents across 22 states. So again, the same thing, 25% Indians trust the police highly, as compared to 54% for the army. A big reason for the distrust is interactions with police can be frustrating, time-consuming, and costly. According to the latest available data, 30% of all cases filed in 2016 were pending for investigation by the end of the year. My God. Oh my God. So basically is the police in lots of the police in India aren't even helping Indians too. There's a reason that only 25% of Indians trust the police. It's because the police are not doing their job. They're not even protecting Indians from being victims of crimes by a lot of these scammers and criminals too. So people are pissed about this stuff. So basically, just think about that too. Is that Indians are also pissed at their police too. This combined with dependency in the judiciary means securing justice in India can take a very long time. As in the case of the judiciary, dependency in the police is driven by a lack of resources. The sanctioned strength of the police across the states was around 2.8 million in 2017, the year with the latest available data, but only 1.19 million officers were employed, a 30% vacancy rate. Ooh. As a result, according to the Mint's calculations, there's only 144 police officers for every 100,000 citizens. That's not good. The commonly used measure of police strength, making India's police force one of the weakest in the world. India's police population ratio lags behind most countries in the United Nations recommended a ratio of 222. I'm going to be talking about what this ratio means in a little bit also. I'm going to get back to this. But look, India's police force is among the most understaffed in the world. And look, India is right here. So look at this, 144. It is some of the lowest. It's some of the lowest in the world. Is generally and the U.S. is right here. U.S. is 207. India is 144. So India is pretty low on there. Madagascar, Kenya, Tanzania. I don't know too much about crime in those countries. I don't know how bad crime is in those countries. I do know that the crime is very low in Finland. So there's very, very low crime in Finland. But I think that so Finland even has less percentage-wise of police than India, but the reason that Finland has such little crime is because the living standards in Finland are just really, really good. They're even better than America. So living standards in Finland are even higher than living standards in America, and so that is the primary reason why Finland crime is so low. Also, another reason is Finland does not have that many urban centers. It's not a very populated country. I think it only has a few million people. Finland, I know, is rated as the happiest country in the world. But about Finland is, yeah, Finland does not have that many urban centers. Any country in the world, doesn't matter whether it's Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Asia, wherever you have like really big urban centers, wherever you have like really big cities is usually where most of the crime is going to take place. There's just going to be gangs, mafias, different types of crime, scams. So urban center cities are typically where most of the crime is going to be. The crime also happens in rural places, don't get me wrong, but in urban centers specifically, that is where a lot of portions of the crime in a country actually happen. And so Finland, I know, does not have that many urban centers, so that's actually another one of the reasons that they have a lower crime rate too. Grenada actually has 864, cops per 100,000 people. I didn't even know that. Grenada, that's in the Caribbean, I believe. Argentina, a lot, 803. Let me see here. And I know Mexico also has a lot of cops. Mexico's 343 per 100,000. But here's the thing is having a good ratio of police is also important, but the police need to be able to do the job, and also police should be paid a fair wage, not, something outrageous, but a fair wage. And just because you have a lot of cops also does not mean that you're going to have less corruption. Having a lot of cops is a good thing. Having less cops is always a bad thing. Having more cops is always a good thing too. But if you have a lot of cops and they're not allowed to do their jobs, and there's a lot of corruption going on, that's still going to cause problems. So it needs to be a combination of the government needs to crack down on corruption. There needs to be more funding for police. So Mexico, even though they have a higher rate of police than a lot of countries like the UK, the US here, Mexico and France, Mexico does have a massive corruption problem with the police as well. So it's not just necessarily based on the rate of the police, but the rate of the police is important. It's always better to have more cops, but in Mexico, there's a lot of corruption going on, specifically with the cartels, which is why, even though they have more cops, they do have a crime problem also. Policing in India is a state subject, which means there is significant variation across states. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal's police forces are all extremely understaffed, with less than 100 police staff per 100,000 people. The only states with police forces that meet the global standard are the police forces in the insurgency-affected areas in the Northeast and Punjab. Even filing the vacant police posts may not be enough to bring India's police forces up to speed with global standards. A fully staffed police force with hiring up to sanction strength of 2.8 million would increase India's police to population ratio to 185, and even as states have increased the sanction strength of their police forces, their populations have increased by even more, especially in states as Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So the scammers see, like when we're talking about the tech support scammers, the scammers see that the police in India are not doing anything about this. They're understaffed, they're not funded, and because of that, more scam centers are going to pop up. Scammers are going to feel confident, and when scammers also target foreigners, they know that nothing's going to get done. There's usually when these scammers even target Indians, it's hard to prosecute them, but especially when they target foreigners, nothing's probably going to be done about that. So that's why there's just so many call centers constantly popping up. But the solution here is that you need to have more active cops, a higher percentage of cops. Cops need to be paid a fair wage. Make like programs where you're going to train new cops, get them into the community, have them interact with people in the community too, community policing. That's basically what it is you encourage, police to get to know their community, talk with the community, maybe make some kind of programs to hire new cops, stuff like that. Have a task force that's also in charge of cracking down on police corruption, because that's the problem that Mexico has, is Mexico does not have those task forces. I mean, I guess it does, but there's just so much corruption. So Mexico also needs to have more task forces as well, but this video is focusing on India. So basically, sum it up, Indian police need to be better funded. There needs to be more cops, more programs to attract new cops. They need to encourage community policing and, better wages, and also like a task force to investigate corruption. And I think that when you do all of those, a combination of all of that stuff, I think that the scams will also reduce. Police departments in Hindi belt are extremely understaffed. And look here, if we actually look at West Bengal, where is West Bengal? West Bengal is right here. Look at this, 97 per 100,000 people. That is really, really low. That is really bad. So Yeah, so if you're wondering why there's so many call centers in Kolkata, whenever you like watch those videos of just those those YouTubers tracking down the call center, and it's like in Kolkata, it's because of this. It's because the police are just understaffed and there's corruption. Understaffed police, and there's a lot of corruption in the government and the police. That is the primary reason. Like I said, it's not Indian culture, it's not the Indian people, it is corruption in this region. Corruption with the police and corruption with the government, understaffing, that is the main problem. Decreased spending on police in recent years is adding to the resource crunch. Between fiscal 2011 and 2015, states spent 4.4% of their budgeted expenditure on policing on average, but this is reduced to 4% over the last 4 years, according to PRS legislative research. An under-resourced, overburdened police force means that both core police activities, enforcing daily law and order, and more long-term police investigations, criminal investigations, are compromised. So police are understaffed and they're overburdened. They're understaffed and they're not paid well, and they have so much stuff that they're dealing with. So there's problems. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the word wrong. Exacerbating. This is the bigger issue of accountability with the police. The Second Administration Reforms Commission in 2007 had noted that politicians were unduly influencing police personnel to serve personal or political interests. This right here, oh man, this is really bad. Politicians using the police to serve personal or political interests. This is pretty much corruption. This is what this is. The way that the article is framing this is a nice way to say corruption, but this is corruption. That is pretty much what this is. This is corruption. The police should not be using politicians should not be using the police to influence their political interests. The rather obvious solution to this is to simply limit the political executive's control over the police, a point underscored by various committees and the Supreme Court in the recommendations for police reforms over the years. So yeah, I would agree with the Indian Supreme Court here, is that politicians should have less control of the police. That's ridiculous. Police should get better funding. A lot of these stupid politicians, these corrupt politicians, should not have control over the police. So this is India's long history of attempted police reform. 1971 National Police Commission, established after the emergency. The NPC produced 8 reports addressing major reforms across a range of police issues. 1998 Ribeiro Committee, established by the Supreme Court to review the lack of action taken to implement NPC recommendations and to reframe New Police Act. Bahaya Committee dealt with the issues of politicization and criminalization of the police and police accountability. For any of my Indian viewers, if you guys could tell me how effective is this committee, because they established this committee in 2000. This is 24 years ago. It's supposed to deal with issues of politicization and criminalization of the police and police accountability. Is this committee effective at stopping police corruption? Because I know that West Bengal, there's the police have this, or from what I'm reading, is there's just a corruption problem here. The first National Police Commission in 1981 delivered 8 reports addressing a range of police issues. In 2005, the Police Drafting Committee drafted a Model Police Act to replace the existing and archaic Police Act, 1861. Most recently, last year, the Supreme Court issued new directives to state governments to implement the directives the Apex Court had recommended in 2006. Thus, both the problems and potential solutions to India's police problems are well understood. What is perhaps stymied the implementation of these reforms, the lack of political will, which in turn could be linked to the growing criminalization of politics. When lawmakers increasingly feature serious criminal charges in their resume, they have very little incentive to professionalize the police force. In each successive Lok Sabha election over the past 20 years, the proportion of candidates with serious criminal charges has only grown. Candidates and winners in general election. Growing criminality of politics may be hindering both police performance and the impetus for police reform. Candidates with serious criminal cases, percentage of winners with serious criminal cases. Wow. So they are. There's a lot of politicians with serious criminal cases that are actually winning. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know how that's happening there. According to the Association for Democratic Reform, serious criminal crimes include those offenses with the maximum possible punishment exceeds 5 years, and offenses related to murder, assault, and rape. So, I don't know what this is about exactly here. This statistic I have no idea on. So, like 28 politicians won in 2019 that have serious criminal convictions. I don't know much about this, so if anybody can tell me more about this in the comments. The long-run trends in the state assemblies are similar, with criminal candidates contesting and winning greater numbers than before. The political scientist Milan Vaishnav noted in the 2015 book When Crime Pays, Money and Muscle in Indian Politics. Vaishnav traces the roots of the criminal politician nexus to zamindari system in the country, which established the legitimacy of the strong man who could settle disputes and dispense patronage, but points out that it intensified during the Indian Gandhi era, which marked the decay of party and state institutions across the country. The decay of party organizations made both the Congress Party as well as its rivals dependent on assorted slumlords and gang lords to reach out to an influential section of voters. And to protect these elements, the police force was thoroughly politicized. What does this say here? It says here, the Congress Party, as well as its rivals, dependent on assorted slumlords and gang lords to reach out to influential section of voters. They've been using mafia bosses and gang leaders to influence voters, and to protect the Congress Party has been doing this. And to protect these elements, the police force was thoroughly politicized, and they politicized the police, with even the appointment or transfer of junior police officers decided by political bosses. Low police salaries meant they came to depend on kickbacks from criminals, leading to a deep nexus between the three elements, criminals, politicians, and the police, which drives this day. So this Indian National Congress Party, I don't know that much about it. I don't think they're the ones in charge. I think they are the primary opposition right now. But what I'm reading here, this is not good. I do not like this right now. At least what I read about I'm trying really hard to stay out of the politics here, guys. But from what I read, the BJP, at least the BJP was trying to do something about this. The BJP was cracking down on the police. They were trying to at least do something about this. But the Congress Party, that other video, they did mention that they were pissed off about that Kumar guy and they wanted him gone too because he wasn't answering their complaints. But now here I'm reading another thing that they've been using slumlords and gang lords to reach out to an influential section of voters. If this is true, let me know in the comments. But this is just really bad what I'm reading right here. So I don't know the policies of these parties. I'm not getting into that, but I'm just caring about corruption. That's what I'm caring about primarily, corruption and rule of law. And what I'm reading right here, I don't like this right now about this Congress Party. Let me see here. This is another article that I got here. This also shows you some police corruption right here. And this is about the Kolkata police also. Kolkata police issued two social, and I'll also link all my articles down below, guys. Kolkata police issued notices to two social media users for sharing AI spoof of chief minister. The users were asked to disclose their identity or face legal action. Social media users criticized the police's actions, citing freedom of speech. The cybercrime division of Kolkata police on Monday sent a notice to two social media users for posting a video which was offensive, malicious, and inciting. The video in question was an AI spoof of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee showing her dancing on a stage. The police warned the two ex-users, Soldier Saffron 7 and Shelen their voice, for sharing the spoof video of Mamata Banerjee. You are directed to immediately disclose your identity, including name and residence. If the information sought is not revealed, you shall be held liable for legal actions. US42 CRPC, the DCP cybercrime. Kolkata police posted in reply to the video shared by two users. And this is the letter that the Kolkata police sent to those guys. These guys, you would think that these guys were some major criminals, these guys that the Kolkata cyber police was going after. But these guys, all they basically did was posted a meme on Twitter over some politician. That's basically what they did. And they are going after them. This reminds me of like the Nigerian cybercrimes division, how they went after that woman for, posting a bad Facebook review of some tomato paste. And then the CEO of that company actually complained to the cybercrimes unit and they actually went after her and arrested her. At least in this instance, the Kolkata police, even though this is kind of corruption, the Kolkata police at least didn't arrest these people as far as I know, but they did harass them. But it says here to the Twitter handler Soldier Saffron 7. I don't know how they got their addresses from Twitter. I don't know how they did that. But it has been observed that you are using social media for posting offensive, malicious, and inciting posts. Cyber Police Station Kolkata hereby issues notices against you under Section 149 CRPC for posting such message in the Twitter handle vide in the Twitter link and having post this, which can adversely affect the law and order situation. What? How the hell is this affecting the law and order situation? These two guys has posted a meme. You are hereby directed to delete the above-mentioned post and also refrain from such acts, failing which you will be liable for strict penal action under relevant provision of law. I don't know if the two guys deleted the post. If they did delete the post, let me know in the comments. I officer in charge. My God, it's like I just keep reading about the Kolkata police, and I just keep reading, so many stories about this corruption. There's so many things going on. So the point that I'm getting here, guys, is that the scams in India are happening in a specific region of India. The call centers are in a lot of places in India. There are call centers that are also in Delhi and Mumbai. There are also call centers there, but a lot of the call centers, the reason that they are in Kolkata, it's coming from a specific part of India, is because the government there's a lot of corruption, and the police are corrupt, and they're incompetent, and they're not doing their job. So like I said, it's not the fault of Indians, not the fault of Indian culture. What people keep, I get so pissed off when I see those comments of like people saying, oh, India's a nation of scammers. India's a beautiful nation, and I want to visit it one day. I definitely do want to visit it. I definitely want to see Mumbai one day. It's one of the largest cities in the world. I think it actually might be the largest city in the world. I would have to look that up, but I definitely want to see Mumbai one day. But it's just like, I just get pissed when I see those comments of just people saying like, Indian culture promotes scamming, or they say that that it's like a nation of scammers. It's a specific part of India where these call centers are coming from, and it's because the government in that region is corrupt. It's not Indians, not Indian culture, it's not the Indian people that are to blame. It's the government in that region. It's the government of West Bengal that is allowing this to basically happen. It says here, while Shailender Voice took down the post, the video was still there on the handle Soldier Saffron. So one of the guys took down the post. Okay, so scratch that, what I was asking the comments earlier. The police also tagged a few of their X handles who would also share the video. Later, the police also sent a notice to the two X users under Section 149 of CRPC, Prevention of Cognizable Offenses. What the hell? It has been observed that you are using social media for posting offensive, malicious, and inciting posts. Cyber police hereby issues against you. We already read this. Notice further asks the X users to delete the post. What did the spoof video show? The video first shared on X handle Soldier Saffron shows an AI version of Mamata Banjari dancing as she walks on stage. The original video shows American rapper Lil Yachty making a stage entrance. The video, which was posted on YouTube June 21, 2022, has become a popular meme template with people using Sora AI to replace Lil Yachty with the renowned figures including Hitler and DC supervillain Joker. So these guys, I haven't seen the video. I don't know everything's in the video. But the video was just posted. It has become a popular meme template. So people have used it as a meme template, and they've replaced it different types of people. So it's this meme of this guy, this musician, just walking up on stage. Okay, so basically they took this and they took this right here, and they were just replacing this the person that's on stage here with different people from Hitler, the Joker. It was just people just messing around on Twitter, posting a bunch of dumb memes, and then those two guys, they posted a meme of basically that Indian politician that we had earlier here. What was the Indian politician's name? Chief Minister Mamata Banjari. That's who they posted the meme of, and the cyber police went after it. And like, literally, do the Kolkata cyber police not have anything better to do? Maybe you should actually go after the scammers. Maybe I should actually raid these tech support scammers. Maybe that's who you should go after, not like some two guys are just making some harmless meme on the internet. What kind of a way is this for the police to threaten the common man? Will the police threaten a meme video maker like this? The police should not forget that everyone has freedom of expression. No one is going to be scared of such threats. Go and tell this to Mamata Banjari, a social media user. 100% right on that. And this is the tweet. Look at this. This is from the cybercrimes police. You are directed to immediately disclose your identity, including name, residence. If the information sought is not revealed, you shall be held liable for legal action. My God. Cyber police, Lal Bazar, Kolkata. Readers added context they thought people might know. The admin of the page just posted a meme, and it was not disrespectful at all. This comes under freedom of speech. Good job, Twitter. Really good job. Twitter wrote this. Twitter itself responded to the Kolkata cyber police and said, this is freedom of speech. You don't have the right to take this down. You don't. And then some guy replied, sir, do you run an anti-sabotory services for offensive posts too? Like, I can take clearance prior posting something in order to avoid legal action later. This is, I don't know what is wrong with the cyber police there. I don't know why this is, they're just not doing anything. It's like I said, it's corruption, it's incompetence. Sir, hang on, yeah. The police post also got a community note, which read the admin of the page just posted a meme and it was not disrespectful at all. This comes under freedom of speech. Hours after the Kolkata police served notice to the ex-users for sharing the spoof video, a user shared a similar spoof video featuring Prime Minister Narendra Modi. PM Modi retweeted the video expressing delight over the creativity of the ex-user. Like all of you, I also enjoyed seeing myself dance. Okay, let's watch this one here. So this is basically the meme, but Modi is the prime minister of India. And so this this one guy made a meme of Modi like dancing here, and Modi was actually pretty chill about it. He was actually fine with this. He actually laughed about it. So he knows how to take a joke. Like I said, I'm not endorsing Modi's policies or his politics or anything. I don't know a lot of his policies, a lot of his politics. So like, don't try to throw that at me. What I'm just saying is about his personality right here is he can take a joke. That's what I'm saying, is he can take a joke, he can laugh about it. He's not, sending the cyber police after people. So he can take a joke, unlike that other stupid politician that can't take a joke and has the cyber police going after them. Yeah, but that is pretty much it for that that one there. I also have a few more things. Ahmedabad, 2 fraudulent call centers targeting US-based citizens busted, 8 held. So this was this was in 2021. 8 persons were arrested and 2 fraudulent call centers targeting US-based citizens with scam calls were busted by the police in Ahmedabad on Wednesday night. According to police, a call center was raided as an office site in Krishna complex in Vastrapur of Ahmedabad on Wednesday night, where 6 accused persons were arrested. The accused to call the victims with a scripted message that they were from legal department and a fraud has been done against their social security number, so IRS scammers. Victims were coerced to pay somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 through different modes. The accused also used to claim that they have found drugs in the vehicle of the victim and extorted money from them, claiming to be legal officers. That's another scam. Kit Boga actually did videos on that, the drug scam. The accused were running the scam call center for 15 days, and we arrested 7 of them. So the police in this case in Ahmedabad actually did a pretty good job. They actually raided the call center within 15 days of being set up, but there's probably call centers in Kolkata that have probably been up there for months and years, and no cop has actually stepped into them. The accused have been identified. Okay, so there's a bunch of their names here. Have been booked: criminal breach of trust, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. Another fraudulent call center was busted by police in Vastral of Ramol on Wednesday night. The accused, Haran Sudhar, a resident of Vastral and Ramol, was running a fake call center for his residence where he targeted U.S. citizens, police said. The accused used to call U.S. citizens and claim his name to be Krish. He then offered payday loans, minimal interest rate, and demanded 25 to 30 commission charge from victims' advance amount. After defrauding him, he used to disconnect the calls to the police officer. So there are cops that do the right thing. These cops that were, I'm impressed by this. That within 15 days of just the call center being shut up, that they managed to track it down, find it, and shut it down. So there are cops in India that actually do try to do a good job. They actually do try to take this seriously, and they do crack down on it. But then there's other parts of India, like we've been reading with the Kolkata problems, where, and also Ahmedabad, it's also one city that has a scam problem too. But the police at least are cracking down on this. They're at least doing something about it here. And this, I wanted to show you guys this. This is actually this is something that an Indian viewer of mine sent me. One of my Indian viewers, he actually sent me this video. This video actually breaks my heart.
Baptiste Loiseau.
But let me actually hang on.
The Cellar Master of Rémi Martin.
Let me show you guys this, because this is okay, there's no volume here. People traveling on an important highway in Punjab. So this is Punjab, which is a more northern province. It's under Kashmir, I believe, so it's one of the more northern provinces. People traveling on an important highway in Punjab's Jalandhar witnessed extremely unusual scenes yesterday when a policeman laid down in the middle of the road to protest corruption and alleged inaction against criminals by cops at his police station. The unorthodox protest led to a traffic jam on the highway. I catch thieves, and cops at my police station let them off after taking money. The Home Guard personnel can be heard saying in videos the incident, which have now gone viral. The videos show also shows a fellow policeman kicking his prone colleague to get him to leave the road. The police have denied the man's charges and have also claimed he was not kicked. He actually was kicked, so the police are actually lying here. He was kicked. The incident took place on a stretch of the Pathan Kot Highway in Jalandhar's Bogpur area. Sources said the Home Guard personnel had arrested a man and taken him to the Bogpur police station. When he went to the police station and asked about the man yesterday, however, his fellow cops gave him evasive answers. So basically, this is the backstory behind what happened. And this video breaks my heart. And this video is a perfect example of good cops in India, really good cops. Because I was ranting a lot about the Kolkata police in this video, but this cop is a really good guy, and this cop has a good heart. But basically, what happened is this cop has been arresting a lot of criminals, thieves. I don't know what kind of thieves, if it's maybe scammers too, but he's been arresting basically people who steal from other people. And what happened is this cop saw that the thieves were paying the other cops as police station bribes. So this cop was trying to do the right thing. He was an honest cop, and he saw like the criminals just paying off cops bribes and just getting out of jail. And he got really pissed off. He got so pissed, he went to the highway and just laid down in the street just to protest. Like, he was laid himself down in front of cars just to protest the corruption in his unit. And so he arrested a guy. So imagine this. Imagine you're being a cop and you arrest a criminal, like, and a thief. And when he went to the police station and he asked about the man, his fellow cops gave him evasive answers. So they wouldn't give him a direct answer on where the guy was. He's like, where is the guy? They wouldn't give him a direct answer because he paid a bribe. The criminal paid a bribe to get out. And he went to a highway and he tried to stop traffic and was protesting. The other policeman is then seen arguing with the man, trying to get him upright and then kicking him. The Home Guard personnel refuses to budge. However, when the bus tries to go past him, he gets up and lies down in front of it again. Bogpur police station in charge, Sugit Singh, said a young man was brought to the police station by the Home Guard personnel in connection with a quarrel. The man had applied for bail, which was granted. He was released after that. Mr. Singh also claimed that the Home Guard Jawan had not been kicked. He was kicked. I'm gonna show you guys a video. I don't think there is there's volume in this. I have volume on, but nothing's playing. So this is the good cop, by the way. This is the honest cop. He was pissed off about his police station constantly letting out scammers and thieves and not arresting them. And so what he did was he decided to go in the street and protest. He was originally going to put this rope up just to stop traffic. That's what he was going to do as like a form of protest. Now, what this guy is doing, I'm not advocating this. He's breaking the law. You can't stop traffic. You cannot lay down in the street, but I understand why he did it. I understand his frustration. There's corrupt cops in his unit, and he's an honest cop. He's trying to get these criminals off the street, and he's getting pissed that these cops in his department are just letting out these scammers, these criminals, and they're not taking it seriously. So you see, one cop comes over, he gets rid of the rope. Then what he does is he lies down on the street here. See that? See that? He did kick him. He kicked him. The police were claiming he never kicked him. He did kick him. It's right here on footage. I don't know how the police can claim he didn't kick him when it wasn't footage. Was this cop right here breaking the law by laying down on the road and blocking traffic? Technically, yes. Yes, he was breaking the law, but I understand why he did it. I understand why he's pissed off. This guy has a good heart. This is a good cop. This is a cop that you want to keep. Was he wrong to block traffic in this case? Yes, he was wrong for doing that, but it had good intentions, at least. That's what I'll say about it. I'm not justifying him blocking traffic, but I'm saying I understand why he did it. He was pissed about the corruption, and he wanted to do some kind of message. And him being recorded on here, it at least got his message out. That's the one thing that I'll say about this. I don't know what happened to this cop afterwards. If anybody knows what happened to this guy, let me know in the comments. But I tried. I looked up on Google. I tried to find out the status on this cop. I couldn't find him. I was really curious what happened to him, if he lost his job or whatever. But if this cop got fired and he lost his job, if they fired him, I'm just gonna say right now, that's just horrible. That's just horrible. He should not that he was a great guy, and this is the kind of cop that you want. This cop, a cop that's willing to do something like this, put his career on the line to try to get a message out about corruption. This is a cop that you want, not just in every single Indian police department, but in every single police department in the world. Is you want a cop like this. I feel so bad for this guy. I really do. I wish I had volume on here. There's no volume, but... If every cop in Kolkata was like that guy, there'd be literally no scammers. But it's just I feel so bad for the guy. I really hope that he didn't lose his job. I really hope he didn't lose his job because of that. Oh, something's playing now. But yeah, like I say, that guy was a good cop. He was an honest cop, and I really hope he didn't lose his job. So he put his career on the line. I don't advocate blocking traffic in any instance. Usually the people that block traffic, because I've done a lot of videos on people blocking traffic. Usually the people that block traffic, and they're usually blocking traffic for stupid reasons. This also happened last year, July 22, 2023. But in this case, I'm not gonna say that it was right what he did, like I said, but I understand why he did it. So, and I feel so bad for this guy. If anybody has an update on this cop, if anybody knows what happened to this cop, please let me know in the comments, because I haven't been able to find anything. I tried. I tried to find if there's any update on him. Nothing. So I really hope he didn't lose his job. And then last here, I want to show you guys here, list of countries and dependencies by number of police officers. This is actually from Wikipedia also, but it is reliable, like I said, and there's references to back it up. And if we actually go to India here, India, look, it's 145 per, 100,000 people. And India has 2 million cops. You would think that that's actually a lot of people, but the population of India is 1.417 billion. So 1,417,000,000 people. That is the population of India. If you have a population that big, over 1 billion people, and you only have 2 million people to police a population of 1,417,000,000 people, that is way too little cops. That is way too little cops. India needs way more cops. And if we actually look at Nigeria, I'm curious what Nigeria is too, because we did a video on Nigeria. Nigeria is a little bit better than India. It's 187, but that's from 2012. So I guess we don't know what the numbers are right now in 2020. But yeah, that's really bad for Nigeria. That it's only 187 too. But let me look up United States. Let's see what United States is. United States is 278. That is the rate that United States is 800,000 cops. And United States population, I think, is like 330 million. So, India, so basically to sum it up, this is talking about the Indian police here, is the reason the scams are out of control in India, and I know I keep repeating myself, but I'm just trying to get this point across. The reason the scams in India are just so out of control, especially in places like Kolkata, they're understaffed, their police is understaffed, their police is underfunded, and there's also corruption problems. Corruption, understaffing, and underfunding. That is the reason why. They need more cops, they need better funding, and they need agencies, specific internal affairs like agencies that are going to investigate the police and check for corruption. If you investigate the police and the government in West Bengal and the police should both be investigated for corruption. Investigate them for corruption, get rid of the bad cops, arrest the bad cops, get rid of them, fire them, and create a new program, hiring new cops, encourage community policing, getting to know the community. You get those cops together, create like a whole new unit of cops, create a unit that investigates the cops. I'm telling you, if you do all of that, the scam call centers will go down. But that is the reason the scam call centers are out of control. It's just like I compared it earlier when I was talking about the shoplifting in a place like San Francisco. The shoplifting got out of control because of stupid law. There's a stupid law, doesn't let the police do what they doesn't let the police enforce the law. And there could also be laws in West Bengal that are also obstructing the police. I don't know all the laws in West Bengal, but there could be laws in West Bengal that are also hurting the police and are making it more difficult for the police. So that's one other thing I wanted to bring up. So when I was bringing up the shoplifting in San Francisco, it's because of the stupid laws that caused an increase in shoplifting, and it's also like defunding the police and lowering the amount of police that are on the streets. Like in Chicago, the amount of police that were the amount of cops that were on patrol was lowered. And because of that, gang violence has exploded. So there's a correlation between lowering the amount of cops that are on the streets and a gang violence increasing. When you have more cops patrolling the streets, you're going to have less gang violence because gangsters are not going to want to do anything bad on the streets if there's tons of cops patrolling the streets. But that's basically the solution. India needs better funding on their police. India needs better funding on their police. and there need to be more staff, and they also need to investigate corruption. And I'm going to say also the United States government is also at fault here too, because the United States government also needs to pressure the Indian government also to help crack down on a lot of these scammers, like in places like Kolkata and in places like Bangalore also. So that pretty much covers this point. But I also wanted to show you guys my next point. My next point, I'm actually going to talk about something that's actually pretty surprising. I know this video is kind of long, but I just wanted to go over a lot of stuff. But in my next point here, did you know that the #1 tech support scam in America, the #1 tech support scam that has actually harassed the majority of Americans, is actually not even from India. It's actually from America. Let me actually show you guys this. Okay, so now let me show you guys some of these scams that are actually in other countries, and a lot of them are actually in the United States. And so here, this is the most common telemarketing scam in America. This is actually from Kit Boga's channel, which Kit Boga, if you see this, I hope you're okay with me reacting to this. I love your channel. You're a great guy. I just love your videos pissing off the scammers. But anyways, about the telemarketing scams, what I was getting at earlier, is that the most common telemarketing scam in America is actually not even the Windows, your computer has a virus, the technician from India that is calling you and is trying to get gift cards from you. That people think that is actually the most common, tech support scam. It's actually not. The most common tech support scam, and this scam is so out of control, it is so widespread in America that I guarantee the people that are watching this video, if you're American, probably 90% of the Americans that have watched this video have probably encountered this scam because of how common it is. And that is the car warranty scam. You know those calls you get when you answer it and it's basically like a machine saying your car's extended warranty has expired, please renew now, blah, 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 that, or you get the letters in the mail about that. So I have gotten multiple letters in the mail from these scammers, of these car warranty scammers telling me my extended warranty is expired. I've gotten multiple calls on it. So this scam is so out of control that it has actually called hundreds of millions of people. I think almost every single person in America has gotten the call at least once. That's how out of control it is. Basically, the goal of the extended car warranty scam is there is 2 versions of this scam. The first version of the scam is actually the scam where they pretend to be a company, they are not a real company, and the whole goal of their calling you is basically to try to steal your credit card information. Steal your credit card information, get a payment from them, and then they sell your data to other companies. That is the first version of the scam. And a lot of these scammers, what they will do is they will actually look up your address, so they'll know your name, and they will look up your car, and they will actually look up your VIN number. So they'll have all that information on hand right when they call you, so that it tries to make it seem believable. The second version of the scam is basically where they technically are real companies, and they offer you an extended warranty, and these are typically from the letters that you get in the mail. And if you actually respond to that and you agree to pay the extended car warranty, the extended car warranty will give you some coverage, but it's minimal. It'll only cover specific parts in the car, and for the amount that you're paying, you are actually getting really ripped off really badly. And if you don't read the fine print says it does not cover the majority of cars, but they don't expect people to read the fine print of it, and their telemarketers are extremely aggressive on this. So, and this scam, like I said, this scam is the most common in America, and these are not Indians that are primarily doing this. Yes, some extended car warranty scams are outside the US, but the primary people that are doing the extended car warranty scams are Americans. These are Americans that are doing this, targeting other Americans. So just think about that. Basically, a lot of people, they just assume that the vast majority of these tech support scams are actually from India, when the most common tech support scam in America is actually the extended car warranty scam, and it's actually done primarily by Americans. But anyways, let's actually watch Kit Boga's video, and you'll see the scammer that he's actually talking to is American in this case.
Processing center for your Ford F-150. How you doing today, Mr. Lewis?
I'm doing well. How are you?
That's me, minding my own business, when I got a call about my Ford truck's extended warranty running out, which is odd because I don't have a Ford truck.
It's going to cover 100% of your parts, 100% of your labor. We're a NASCAR-backed company, licensed warranty provider for Ford.
That is nonsense. They say stuff like that, or NASCAR-backed companies to trick you into it.
Ford themselves sending me a little love.
Yeah.
So Ford chose me specifically and upgraded me.
Yes, sir. You're a gold member. We've been on the phone for 6,218 minutes. Cut the BS. Go get your insurance paper and grab the VIN number. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to disqualify the vehicle, sir.
Why are you yelling so much, sweetheart? What did you need about the car?
The VIN number.
Yeah, for the Ford, for the F-150.
We don't have a Ford, sweetheart.
What are you talking about?
We sold it. We have a Prius.
Oh my gosh.
He hung up. And this scammer was definitely American. And how do I know this scammer was American?
Sending me
a lot of people say that accents can be faked, but just listen to the way the scammer talks. Wait, just listen to this part.
love.
Yeah.
So Ford chose me specifically and upgraded me.
Yes, sir. You're a gold member. We've been on the phone for 6,218 minutes. Cut the BS.
This part, when he says cut the BS. I have never heard a foreigner actually say that. I have never heard a foreigner say cut the BS. That is very much an American thing. So even if the scammers are pretending to have American accents, I don't buy it here. These are American scammers that are doing this. These are American scammers that he had called here. And so check out Kid Polka's channel. I'll link his channel down below, but he's a great guy, and he really pisses off these scammers. But the point I'm getting at is that these extended car warranty people are primarily Americans that are doing this, and cut the BS is very much an American saying. It means cut the bullshit, excuse my language. But I have never heard a foreigner actually use this phrase, cut the BS. I've only ever heard Americans actually say this. This is pretty much an American saying. And this is about the car warranty scam. This is from RoboKiller. I'll link this article down below. Car warranty robocalls plummeted in late 2022. According to RoboKiller, estimates car warranty robocalls plunged from nearly 1 billion in June 2022. 1 billion car warranty scam calls to fewer than 7 million just 3 months later. Whereas these unwanted messages accounted for about 13 to 17% of all robocalls in the first half of 2022. That figure now sits well below 1%. So the American government has actually taken a lot of action, and I think that the Indian government also needs to do the same thing, where the American government has taken a lot of action against these robocalls. But the point that I'm getting at is that these robocalls have been a massive problem. Look at that. 13 to 17% of all robocalls were just from this one scam alone, the extended car warranty scam. And estimated car warranty robocalls, look at this. This is well over 1 billion in January 2022. This is like, over 800 billion. Here, it's like, over 1 billion. Here, looks like a little bit over 750 billion. Nearly 1 billion again, May 2022, nearly 1 billion in June 2022. Then it plummeted to about a little bit over 500 million. And then August 2022, it plummeted to around 300 billion. And now look at this. This number has dropped substantially, a lot. But we're going to see what the government did to stop it, basically. How big of a problem are car warranty robocalls? Until recently, auto warranty scams were part of everyday life for Americans. In fact, it's statistically possible that every person with a smartphone received at least one of these unwanted messages in the past 12 months. So just think about that. Almost every single American has received one of these extended car warranty scam calls within the last year. Just imagine that. I have received, probably 50 of these calls in the past. So if you're watching the video and you're an American, you probably have experienced a lot of these scam calls. But in 2020, Americans received 6.5 billion car warranty robocalls, 12% of the 54.6 billion overall spam calls that received their phone. In 2021, auto warranty scams doubled to 13 billion, accounting for 18% of the 72 billion robocalls placed by scammers that year. So America has a population of 330 million people. If they called 13 billion times, that means what? They called every single person 5 times each. Actually even more than that. There's 13 billion, so it's probably I can't do the math right now in my head, but it means that every single person would have to be called at least 10 times. In the first half of 2022, Americans received 5.7 billion car warranty scams, just shy of 2021's pace and good for 14% of the 40 billion spam calls sent to the point. But then something dramatic happened. Why did auto warranty robocalls fall off a cliff in late 2022? The steep decline in car warranty robocalls can be traced back to July 7, 2022. That day, the Federal Communications Commission announced a series of actions designated to mitigate these scams. The agency's robocall response team has identified a specific group responsible for sending billions of these scams and a select number of voice service providers who were letting them go unchecked. So they set out a series of repercussions for both detailed below. So basically, the government was actually punishing voice service providers. So the providers that were actually, that these scammers were using to basically record those robocalls, the government didn't just punish the scammers, it actually punished these providers. And then when the providers were getting, punished for it severely, they stopped. Doing business with a lot of these. And I guarantee you, a lot of these providers, they probably knew these guys were scammers that were working with them. So these voice recognition, these voice service providers were real companies that were working with the scammers, and because the scammers were paying them, they looked the other way and they didn't care. India needs to do the exact same thing, but with scam call centers. They need to do the exact same thing, and basically a lot of the companies, the buildings where these scam call centers are in India, basically they are actually real company buildings. But what happens is the scammers actually rent out like a floor or a set of offices. So there's like a big office building in India, right? And the scammers will actually rent out a specific part of that floor, or maybe the whole floor even, for their scam operation. And here's the thing: for people say, "Oh, what if the company that owns the building doesn't know?" They know. Okay, they definitely know. That's what I'm telling you about. There is no way in hell that a large corporation would literally lease out an entire floor to their building and not even know what the people that are leasing out their floor on their building are doing. They know that they're running scams, and these companies in India, they don't care because they're getting paid. They're getting paid for the rent from these scammers. And so they don't care. What the Indian government needs to do, they need to do the same thing the American government did with these voice service providers, is they basically need to tell these companies that own these large-scale office buildings, if you rent out a floor to these tech support scammers, you're going to get in a heap of trouble. You're going to face some, massive fines, taxes. We could even possibly seize your property. If they do that, if the Indian government threatens these companies who are literally, who are renting out their floors to these tech support scammers, I guarantee you the amount of tech support scams would plummet, because the scammers would have nowhere to do. They probably would just start setting up at home, but their operations would be a lot smaller than setting up in these big, office buildings. But let me see here. Who did the FCC? That's the federal FCC. That's I'm trying to remember. Federal Commission of I don't remember the entire thing, but FCC named Roy Cox Jr., Aaron Michael Jones, and their Sumco Panama companies and international associates as the operatives behind upwards of 8 billion auto warranty robocalls. Although Cox and Jr. and Jones may not be household names, they're well-known to federal agents. In 2013, the Federal Trade Commission banned Cox Jr. from telemarketing after he orchestrated an illegal robocall operation designated to steal from Americans via credit card scams, auto warranty scams, home security systems, and other fraudulent means. In 2017, Jones was likewise banned from telemarketing for making hundreds of millions of calls to people on the Do Not Call registry. The Do Not Call registry is basically a registry where you give your phone number, and companies cannot actually call you once your phone number is on there. In addition, the FCC's Enforcement Bureau sent cease and desist letters to 8 carriers: Callpipe, Fogo Telecom, Geist Telecom, Global Links, Mobi Telecom, South Dakota Telecom, SIP Connect, and Virtual Telecom. The Cox-Jones operations had used for their schemes. These voice service providers were given 48 hours to stop permitting the traffic, otherwise they'd risk legal action and be removed from the robocall mitigation database, meaning none of their traffic on their networks would be allowed to pass through. The FCC also issued a warning to all other U.S.-based carriers to cease carrying these robocalls. So they gave them 48 hours. So the federal government was not playing around with these voice service providers. So they seriously went after them, and they dropped these scammers. So it shows you that these companies knew very well that these guys were scammers. These people running these extended car warranty calls, they knew these guys were scammers, and they were fine with them running their robocalls through their service. But when the government went after them and threatened them that there'd be legal action, they took the majority of these They discontinued service for a lot of these scammers. They didn't let them use their voice services anymore. And so, like I said, the Indian government needs to do the exact same thing in India, but with the office buildings. They need to go to the office. They need to make laws where they basically say, if these office buildings, if these companies rent out these floors to these scammers, they're going to be in a heap of trouble. And I guarantee you the calls would stop. But like I said, the Indian government needs to do that. They need to take action on that. The FCC's actions yielded spectacular results virtually immediately. In July 2022, Americans received 43% fewer robocalls than they did in June. That percentage dropped another 40% in August. By September and October, car warranty robocalls had descended all the way to 7 and 12 million respectively, a far cry from nearly 1 billion in the 2 months prior to the FCC's crackdown. So they went from 1 billion to 7 to 12 million. That's amazing. Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. I'll link this article. I don't want to go through the whole article, but that's pretty much it. Is the most common telemarketing scam in America is actually not even done by Indians. It's actually done by Americans in America. But anyways, this is and this is another video. This guy basically shows like the form that these
So Ford wants me to buy a new extended warranty for my truck and stuff. It says I've had this thing for almost a year, and it says that I drive more miles than the average driver, and that my 36,000 mile new vehicle limited warranty coverage will most likely expire in the next 17 months. Look at that. You drive more miles than the average driver. Almost a year through COVID and everything, and look at that, 3,603 miles. 3,603 miles in a year. It would take me 10 years to get 36,000 miles. People are lying to you.
Yeah, so these scammers, like I said, is they will send letters to you with your VIN number on there, the type of car. They can look this up through the internet. They can look up where somebody lives and an address. They can look up the vehicles that is registered to a person. They can get the VIN number, and then they send you a letter, just like that. And I had to blur out the top of it because the guy had his, VIN number there. I respect the guy's privacy who made the video, so I don't want to, show that. But that's basically the same scam. And here, this is another one. I'll also link this video down below. Scammer Jammer, I'll subscribe to him too. But just take a listen to the accents here.
Hello, how you doing today?
I am fantabulous. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for asking. The reason I'm just giving you a call is because your original warranty on your vehicle has expired. So we're just trying to help you put coverage back on so you're not stuck paying for repair bills moving forward. Just to make sure with you, you have about 104,000 miles, is that correct?
That is true.
And let me get you authorized. Let me grab my authorization and I'm on the line. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about your vehicle. If everything checks out, I'll cover the coverage and the cost for you, okay? Did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, let me get you authorized then.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much for holding. This is Vanessa. I'm with the authorization department. I do have to let you know that the call is being recorded. How are you doing?
I'm fantabulo. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Great. How you doing with this whole virus?
I'm surviving. I'm currently working remote right now.
Oh, that's great.
I'm just staying home. I got little.
So basically, heard the guy and the girl. These are very much American accents. These scammers that he's talking to are Americans, and some of the people that work for these companies, these car warranty scammers, they might not necessarily know that it's not a scam. But I'm gonna tell you is that's no excuse, because literally is like, how would you work for a company and selling extended car warranties and you wouldn't know that it's a scam? So I'm fairly confident that the vast majority of the people that work for these extended car warranty people, they know that very much it's a scam and they don't care. But basically that's the scam there again. And here's one more video on the extended car warranty scam.
Answer another question from one of our viewers, and this one comes from Tom. He writes in and says, what is up with all these calls I'm getting about extended car warranties? My whole family is getting them too, and we only have one car. Is it a scam? That's a great question. Here's Alex with the answer.
A lot of you guys have been asking me to figure out what's going on with these extended warranty sales calls that a lot of you have been getting lately. Here's what they sound like.
You are still eligible to reactivate warranty coverage. This is the final call before we close the file. Press 1 to speak with a representative now about your vehicle.
I got one and just figured it was a wrong number. The recording never said my name or what type of vehicle I drive, and my warranty ran out over a year ago. So after you guys started writing me about the same type of call, I decided to make one of my own, back to the company that originally called me.
Warranty Division, I'm Bruce. How may I help you today?
Hi, Bruce. My name's Alex Flippin. How you doing?
Bruce told me my GM warranty was up, but he doesn't work for GM, so...
Is there somebody I can, need to call at GM to, verify this?
No, you just contact us. You want a warranty? I mean, it's very simple. They're going to play it down as much as they can because they get more money out of you without a warranty. If they can make up things, they engineer the parts to break down after the the warranty's out.
Ah, I see. Bruce, I'd use the word convoluted next time instead of simple. According to the Better Business Bureau and just about every scam tracking website we could find, these offers are at best not worth your time or money. Some may be legitimate, but probably won't end up covering the sort of repairs to your car that would warrant the price you pay for the so-called extended warranty. If I haven't sold you on the fact that this is a scam, consider this. The gentleman I spoke to on the phone told me the way he knew my warranty was up was because his company worked with every auto manufacturer in the country and every auto repair shop in the country. Every single one. Now, how many calls do you think I had to make to find out that that wasn't at all true? Well, I made 20, and I still haven't found anyone who has ever heard of the company offering me that great deal on a new warranty. Also, he refused to answer any more of my questions until I provided him with some personal information. I declined. Thanks for that great flipping question. I'm Alex Flippin.
Busted. He got busted. Don't fall for it. Hey, if you have a question for Alex, you can send it by going to our website, nwahomepage.com.
So basically, this further proves my point that when the government is not going to be doing their job, when the government is not, going after criminals are going to take advantage of that situation. And so Indians are not more prone to scamming than Americans. They're not more prone to scamming than anyone else. The reason these tech support scams are out of control, specifically in India, is because the government and the police are not raiding these centers. Yes, there might be a few videos that you watch on YouTube where they raid a few of these centers, but then basically, there's so many way more that they don't raid, and even some of the scammers that they arrest, some of those scammers are back out in the streets after a couple weeks, and they set up another call center. And so America would have just as many call centers as India if we didn't crack down on these scammers. If we didn't stop these scammers, we would have the exact same amount. And we actually did. This extended car warranty stuff. You see this, over 1 billion calls in 1 year. So the most common telemarketing scam in America was not done by Indians. It was actually done by Americans with that extended car warranty scam. But people don't think of that. When they think of the telemarketing scam, they typically think of the people that are pretending to be Microsoft or IRS. They don't think of the car warranty scam. But guess what? The government, and I'll tell you something, normally the federal government normally does a lot of really stupid things. Like, I normally don't like a lot of the dumb things that they do. But this was actually one thing that they actually did right in this case, is that they literally reduced the amount of calls, like from 1 billion to 7 million. And it was primarily because they threatened the companies that were loaning their voice service programs to these extended car warranty people. And they said, if these people are going to be using your voice service, we're going to go after you. And guess what? They dropped them just like that. They all started dropping them, and now the calls have just plummeted, literally plummeted from 1 billion calls to 7 million. That's amazing progress. It's still annoying 7 million calls, but from 1 billion to 7 million, that's really good progress. So India can definitely do the same thing. Like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself. What the Indian government needs to do, and I hope somebody from the Indian government watches this too, what they need to do is they need to literally threaten these companies. These companies definitely know these scammers are renting out their floors. They definitely know. You wouldn't rent out an entire floor in your office building to people you don't know. And so the government in India needs to threaten these companies and tell them, you rent out any floor on your, in your building to scammers, we're going to shut you down. You're going to have massive fines. We might even confiscate your property. They do that, and I guarantee you they will kick these scammers out just like that because they don't want to lose their buildings. So that's basically the solution. And this is my next thing that I wanted to talk about with relation to scams. And this is basically the, this is the repair scam. This is the most common physical scam that's actually in America. And probably the most common, this is probably, and the car warranty scam is the #1 scam that you will get a phone call from in America. Well, it used to be before the government cracked down on it. But the repair scam, this is basically what I call it. I call it the repair scam. The repair scam is such a very common scam in America. And this scam is so common that most people that are watching this, if you're an American, you probably have encountered this scam or seen this scam somewhere because this scam is just so common. But this scam is very hard to detect. It's very hard to see it. Basically, what the repair scam is the repair scam happens to anything that you need repaired. So it can happen to your car, it can happen to your air conditioning unit, it might happen to your air ducts that need cleaning, it might happen to your furnace, your boiler, anything that needs fixed or to be serviced, anything like that. Is what will happen is there are companies out there, and these are real companies that you can even find on Google, and some of them have 5-star reviews, but a lot of those 5-star reviews are paid for and they're fake. And so what happens is these companies, they will come to your house for a routine service appointment. Like in this case, they were supposed to come here for, air ducts. The advertised price that they give you is false, because what they will do is when they show up to your house, they will tell you, oh, this is wrong, this is broken, you need to get this fixed. And oftentimes what these guys will do is they will point to older parts. They will point to older parts specifically in a unit, and they will say, oh, this needs to be changed. Just because something is old does not necessarily mean that it needs to be changed. And so they will sell you a ton of parts that you don't need. They'll lie to you about stuff being broken when it's not broken, and they'll sell you stuff. And a lot of people don't think that this is a scam because you're being offered a service. But here's what I'll tell you is, just because you're being offered a service, even if the scammer sells you a product, like even if it's like air ducts, if they sell you, for example, like new air ducts, and you don't need those new air ducts, they are scamming you. Even if they are giving you a service, even if they are cleaning out your stuff, if they are overcharging you and they are selling you something and they're lying to you and they're trying to sell you something that you don't need, that is very much a scam. So people think that just because you get something in it, you get some kind of service, that it can't be a scam, but it is very much a scam. If they are lying to you, basically what a scam is a dishonest, dishonest transaction. That's pretty much what a scam is. It's dishonest. It's lying to somebody and taking advantage of somebody. That's what a scam is. So even if you get something from the scam, even if it's like a small thing, it's still a scam because you are being sold something that you don't need. So this is a very common scam that happens in America. But let me just show you this. The air duct cleaning scams. And this is also, you might remember, I actually used this clip for that video where I was actually, I confronted that scammer, that scammer that was actually in Nigeria, and I told him their location. I actually used this video as a meme for that video. But anyways, let's watch it. And it's Chris Hansen on here too, which is gonna be kind of funny when Chris Hansen confronts the scammers.
We're $359.85.
This air duct technician from Ductmasters in Hebron, Kentucky, just turned a $49 promise into a $360 bait and switch. Would it happen again?
I saw any of the paper and I would be interested in having my air ducts cleaned.
We asked another homeowner to make an appointment with the same company. This time, 74-year-old Judy Pruce allowed us to use her house to see if Ductmasters would finally deliver on the $49 promotion.
So this is what they do. They give you a fake promotion and basically say $49.95. This is 13 years ago. So like, this probably this would probably be like over, they'd probably tell you like $100, which you would think would still be a really good deal. But it's going to be, hundreds of dollars more. But yeah, that's typically what they would do. And here's the thing is, I have had, an entire system cleaned. I have had 2 systems cleaned with respectable companies, and for 2 rental properties that I own. So there's 2 rental properties, and basically when I purchased the first rental property, I had the ducts cleaned, and then the second rental property, I had the ducts cleaned. And basically the job it depends on the size of the house, but roughly the size of the houses that I had, it was basically like it took like 4 hours, 3-4 hours, and it cost like $600-700. That is basically how much it was. And so there's no way in hell that they're going to come over and they're going to do a job like this for $49.95, and they're going to do it so quickly too.
A house this size should take somewhere between 3.5 and 4 hours to do.
So literally, he literally just said what I said. And my house is, my rental properties are a little bit bigger than her house, so maybe, yeah, about 4 to 5 hours. Then.
Buck Shepard is president of the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. We asked him to inspect Judy's ductwork.
You have a nice system that will definitely benefit from a good duct cleaning.
Take a look. Her ducts are filthy. How well will Ductmasters clean them? Will they do it for the advertised price? Here come the technicians.
Hello. How are you? Okay, I'm fine. I saw the ad in the paper here.
Sean and Tim have no idea everything is being recorded on hidden cameras. Sean tells Judy how he'll clean her system.
Put a vacuum on the system.
Okay.
Judy reconfirms the price.
Okay, and this is $49, right?
Yep.
Okay, fine by me.
Now alone in the basement, Sean does a quick check. It's time to deliver some bad news to Judy. She's got soot.
Soot cannot be cleaned.
And he says soot is trouble. But fortunately, he tells her it's not hopeless.
The other option that you could take, and this is completely up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sean says he's got a chemical with him that will keep soot from blowing around.
Okay.
It's called a soot set.
Mm-hmm.
It's a polymer sealant. Okay, it will go inside the duct system and actually seal everything.
That's the good news. The bad news?
So is that included in the $49.95?
I apologize, but it's not.
So you can't honor that?
I can't do anything with that.
You can't do anything?
He says he'll need to cut 2 holes or access panels like this one in her ducts to spray the chemicals, and that will cost more than just $49.
We'd have to make 2 actually access panels in order to admit the fog treatment.
So that's, I can't read that, $470?
Suddenly, the $49 promo has jumped to almost $500.
As long as I get a guarantee. Okay, thank you very much.
So Judy waits patiently up in the
And honestly, I don't know how.
Dining
this guy
room.
just smiling because he's smiling. Literally, the bastard, excuse my language, is smiling. He literally just got $500 for basically doing nothing. He literally and the fact that these guys take advantage of like old women like this is just disgusting.
While the men go to work, or do they go to work?
I'm sorry if I curse, guys. The only times I really curse is when I just get really pissed.
Downstairs in the basement, Sean doesn't look too busy. Upstairs on the first floor, Tim first vacuums the vents and then seals them so no debris or chemicals will blow through the house.
Sealed off.
How well did he do that job? Take a look. At first, it appears like it's snowing inside. Then there was more.
Notice all that dust. That's from the vacuum.
Buck Shepard, our air duct expert, was in our control room watching it all. Instead of cleaning the air, they were actually blowing the dirt throughout the house, even around Judy's head.
They've just destroyed the environment in that house.
After Tim seals the vents, it's time to spray what Sean called the soot sealant into the system. Sean does spray something into a hole he made in the air duct, but he may not be taking the job all that seriously, filling not the hole, but the air around him with noxious fumes. That's when Judy gets curious and heads downstairs.
Oh, goodness gracious, what is that? That's the sanitizer. It's a little strong.
Yes, it is. Why, yeah, why am I coughing?
It's basically you got some stuff in your lungs that right now it's probably not too healthy. I bet you feel like you want to hack something up.
Yes, yes.
She pays almost $500 and the job is done.
So scamming her and also destroying the environment in her house, contaminating it.
But did she at least get what she was promised? Remember, Sean told Judy he needed to make 2 access panels to add the chemicals. But watch this. He did make that first hole. But as for the second, all he does is attach a metal plate to the duct. There's no hole. He's just trying to make it look like there's one. And what about the chemical that was supposed to go inside the air ducts? Well, it may be seeping all through the house. The technicians were supposed to seal Judy's vents. But take a look. Maybe they didn't use enough tape. And how clean are the ducts themselves for all that money? Remember, these were her air ducts before. These were the same ducts after they left. No difference.
This woman, in my opinion, just got jacked. It was amazing how unscrupulous some people can actually be.
A few weeks later, we asked Judy to make another appointment, this time to clean her furnace. And this time, I was there. Sean shows up again, this time with a different partner. I head to the basement.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
What's happening?
At first, they thought I was a friend of Judy's. I asked them about some of their work, like this access panel they supposedly cut so they could spray that chemical sealant into the system.
So what do? You cut a hole?
Yep, there's about I believe an 8-inch hole behind this as well as over here on this side.
So you can actually get up in there and look?
Correct.
Will you show me?
Sure.
Tends to be surprised no one actually cut a hole.
Oh, looks like there is no access panel there.
So why would there be no access panel?
I do not know. Could you run out my truck and drop my cell phone on the middle console?
So would you have been the one?
No, that would not have been me. Obviously, I was just talking about it needed to ask.
What he doesn't know is that we have him on hidden camera covering the hole that isn't there. It's time to tell Sean who I am.
You need to know something, Sean. Okay. I'm Chris Hansen with Dayline NBC.
Okay.
And we're doing a story on how some companies allegedly rip off customers.
Okay.
And you need to know that there was a camera over there, and there was a camera over there while you were doing the work last week. And I'd like to show you some of that video. I had it set up right over here.
Okay.
I showed video of dust flying around Judy's head.
What is this flying around here? This is during the last visit. See the dust that's flying around?
Uh-huh.
What is that?
Looks like it may be some dust.
Some dust. And why would that be flying around the house?
That's when Sean begins to make his exit.
Sean, I just want to show you one thing.
Sean goes outside and calls the office, then returns once more.
All right. First of all, gentlemen, really would not want to give you on camera if that's not a problem. Do not give you this permission to film me.
We don't need it.
He goes inside to speak with Judy.
We completely apologize about that.
So your office says to apologize to Judy?
No. We completely apologize for the situation. Obviously, it's...
What do you mean by the situation?
Excuse me, sir. I'm talking business premise.
Excuse me. I mean, here's a woman on a fixed income.
We'll go ahead and watch. The
promise was $49. The promise was $49.95. You came in here, you upsold her to right around $500, and said for $200 more we can do this other work you're going to do today. How does that happen?
She's the one that called us, sir.
The Duckmasters of Hebron, Kentucky that we observed is not affiliated with other honest companies around the country who may go under the same name. But Michelle Mason of the Better Business Bureau says the ripoff we saw is similar to scams happening all around the country,
Look at how out of control this is.
Perpetrated by other companies who operate under various names.
Is every state affected by this?
Well, we know of at least 20 states that we can track them to, and there's a good chance that there's more.
She says the air duct companies set up shop in a city only to take off when the heat is on. In fact, just days after I went to Judy's house, Duckmasters shut down. The National Air Duct Cleaners Association wants you to know there are many reputable companies like this one, who they referred us to properly clean Judy's air ducts. Remember, this is what they looked like before. And here they are after a proper cleaning, which cost us $360. So what does Buck Shepard think of Judy's experience with the company that scammed her, Ductmasters? Let's just say he left his initials in the dust.
Because the job they just did was nothing but BS.
Yeah, so basically is these guys are scammers. These guys are scammers just like also the Indian tech support scammers. It's only a different kind of scam. That's really the only difference, is they take advantage of people, they lie to people, they literally take people's money from them, and they don't give them anything in return. So like literally this woman, she didn't even get a service. She didn't even get anything in return. They literally just stole $500 from her, pretty much it. And, you know, the good thing that came out of this story is at least the company was, you know, forced to flee, but they're just gonna basically shop somewhere else. They're gonna rent out an office somewhere else, and they're gonna start doing it again. But basically, literally, is the only way to really, you know, the only way to really avoid, you know, a scam like this is there's really only two things that you can do to really avoid a scam like this, and the only two things that you can do is you can you either know how to do the service yourself, so you know how to clean the ducts yourselves, or you know somebody close to you, like a family member or friend that works in that business. If you know somebody close to you, you know that they're, you know, you know them personally, you know they're an honest person, you know they're not going to do something like that. So when they tell you something needs to get shit fixed, you know that it's that they're being truthful with you. You know, I have a handyman that I hire for whenever something, you know, is broken around my rental property. He's a really nice guy. He's a really good guy. He's a good friend of mine too. He's really honest. I trust him 100%, and I will always use him for pretty much everything. He's never taken advantage of me. So literally, if you know somebody, you know, in the field, you know somebody that's like, you know, good at, you know, fixing stuff, you know, taking care of stuff, that generally you want to keep that person. You want to keep contact with that person for a long time, because you know they're not going to take advantage of you. You know, they're an honest person, but that's really the only thing you can do. Don't base it on Google reviews, because I have seen like companies that have had like 5-star reviews when my father and me went to mechanics, and they basically pulled a mechanic scam, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But 5-star reviews can be fake. Just know that on Google. So that doesn't really mean anything. And now, this is basically the mechanic scam. This is basically the same concept as the air duct cleaning scam, but basically this is I'm just gonna put this on 1.25 just so this, I don't want this video to be like extremely long, but
Now, and what really happens when you drop off your car at the auto repair shop? Are you being taken for a ride? Our camera's rolling tonight, and GeoBenita is catching some mechanics right in the act.
Stephanie Walsh is making the drive that every vehicle owner dreads, a visit to the auto mechanic to fix a problem under the hood. But in this case, Stephanie is actually an ABC News producer, and her Infiniti SUV has been equipped with an optional accessory, our hidden cameras. 2020 is going undercover at auto repair shops to see if what our confessor says is true, that there are way too many mechanics out there who are willing to take advantage of their customers by doing unnecessary repairs.
You're a bit at the mercy of whoever's opening up your hood and looking at it.
Joe the mechanic should know. He's been fixing cars for more than 40 years. We've agreed to put him in a disguise with Hollywood makeup and not use his real name. In exchange, Joe agreed to tell 2020 about the dirty little secrets of his trade. Oh, really? Joe says there are even special names for these transaxle transgressions, like gravy work, which means billing the customer for much more time than a repair job actually takes.
It's like a brake job. Most shops will charge an hour and a half to 2 hours to turn the rotors, put pads on it. If you're good and got good equipment, you can do it in 20 or 30 minutes. That's gravy.
You're doing it in less time, but you're getting extra money for it.
That's right.
So basically, this guy is a mechanic who actually did run a lot of these scams. I don't think he ran his own shop. He worked for people that basically forced him to do these scams, and he felt bad about it. And so he basically came to the media to explain about it. But basically, that's what they will do is if you're ever at a mechanic shop and you're wondering why are the repairs taking so long on my car, the reason is because they have your car sitting there and they're not even doing anything on it. And then they tell you that they've been working on your car for that long just to charge you for the extra time too.
Joe says another inside trick that some mechanics use is the so-called wallet flush, where a routine oil change can turn into something much more expensive.
An $18 oil change. Well, they lose money on that. The idea is to get you in so they can sell you the coolant flushes, trans flushes, power steering flushes. That's where the money is.
In other words, if you're flush with cash, get ready to be hosed.
It's real easy to check the transmission fluid. This is actually
very clean. But honestly, I've seen recommendations for flushes on fluid that looks like this.
Joe says what drives all of this is the tiny profit margin at many repair shops. He says most mechanics are honest, but all too many are pressured by their bosses to push unnecessary work. He used to do it himself.
I'm ashamed a bit to admit it, but when your boss tells you either you do it here or the door's right there, what are you going to do? I need a job. Everybody needs a job.
Getting back to the tricks of the trade, Joe says one of the most common and profitable ways to jack up a repair bill is exploiting fears over the check engine light, affectionately known by some in the trade as the idiot light.
It's expensive. That people are afraid of the check engine light.
You see that check engine light, you say, oh my gosh, something's wrong with it. You go to the mechanic, and really, it could be anything that's happening in here, right?
Oh, yeah.
That brings us back to our hidden camera test with Stephanie and her SUV. We wanted to see if mechanics would try to take advantage of her over that so-called idiot light. But first, Stephanie takes her Infiniti to 2 highly rated mechanics to ensure her vehicle will be in perfect working order.
This car is road ready. Absolutely nothing wrong.
Ace mechanic Audra Forden comes up with a simple plan to test how mechanics will handle our check engine light.
So what we're going to do is disconnect the mass airflow sensor.
She simply unplugs this cord connected to the mass airflow sensor, which makes the check engine light go on. Audra says a diagnostic scan, which can cost from $50 to $100, will quickly detect the problem. We hit the road, taking Stephanie's Infiniti to auto repair shops in New York and New Jersey.
Good morning. I have an appointment.
Fixing the check engine light was a no-brainer for this shop, Quality Auto in Belleville, New Jersey. They quickly spot the problem and simply plug the cord back in. They don't even bother charging Stephanie for their time.
It took all 15 minutes. I didn't charge anything.
Now,
so literally, there are honest shops out there like that. And they, that guy was just, hoping for return business primarily, but it's a good strategy. He didn't rip her off, he didn't lie to her, he didn't charge her anything for it, and, and that's a shop that deserves more business in the future, definitely, 100%. I had a situation where basically I remember, like, it was like, 2 winters ago, where there was one of my tires in my car. It just kept losing air pressure, like constantly losing air pressure. I looked all over the tire. There was no hole anywhere. So I was like, how is this constantly losing air pressure? And so what I did was I pumped the tire a little bit more than, what the amount that it should be, because I knew it was going to keep losing air pressure. And what I did was I drove over to a mechanic that was like 10 minutes from me. And, I pulled in and I basically told him, my tire, it just keeps losing pressure. And he took a look at it and, 10, 15 minutes later, he comes back. And basically he tells me that there was like one part in my tire, some kind of like little part that basically froze and just shattered because it was like really cold, because where I live in the upper Midwest, like, it's minus 20 Fahrenheit in the winter time. And so he basically told me it was like some small little metal part, and because of the cold, that like ice got around it and it basically shattered that small part. But the part was like $5, and he put in basically a new part. And, I asked him how much I owe him, and he told me, you don't owe me anything. That's it. It's taken care of. And I said, are you sure? I feel bad. And he's like, nope, you don't owe me anything. It was really quick. He's like, it's a couple-minute job. I don't need to get paid for that. And so he gave me, free $5 part, replaced it. It was really quick and professional. And, I gave the guy 5 stars. It's the least I can do. And so whenever I need something done, I go to that mechanic shop only now. But yeah, basically, there are good mechanics out there that will help you. I had a situation where, basically, my dad and me, we went to a mechanic to get his his van inspected, and this was like over like a 17, 18-year-old vehicle, and the guy was basically saying, oh, there's something wrong with the transmission, this part needs to get changed, this part needs to get changed, this part, and from just simply inspecting the car, it went to like over a $2,000 job. And the thing is, the entire car wasn't even worth $2,000 at that point. And my dad was getting pissed. We left the shop, we just paid the inspection report, the inspection fee, we left the shop, and what happened is we went to my friend's shop. So one of my friends in high school, his father actually owns a mechanic shop, and it was like a 20-30 minute drive. We drove over there. My dad actually didn't want to go over there at first. He said it's the same thing is going to happen, but I said, let's just go over there. Let's just see that it's that everything is okay. And so we went over there, and he basically looked at the car, and he's like, you're good to go. All we had to do was pay the inspection. And, I asked him, what about all the parts the mechanic showed me? And he's basically said to me, oh, no, those parts are just old. They don't need to get changed. And he said to me that people will point to old parts constantly, and they'll say, oh, this needs to get changed, this needs to get changed. But just because something is old does not necessarily mean that it has to be changed. And so mechanics have a really bad reputation because there have just so many scammers that are mechanics. There are more honest mechanics than scammers, but there are so many mechanics that are just scammers. They lie to customers, they sell customers stuff they don't need, they pull crap like this, they take too long on a job, then overcharge the customer. You go in for an oil change, and then they'll lie to you about other stuff broken in your car just so that they can, overcharge you. And so literally the only way to really avoid scams like this, like I said before, is if you know somebody in trade, if you know a good mechanic, if you know an honest person, friend, family member of yours that you know is an honest guy, go there, because when they tell you something's broken, they're being truthful with you, and or you know how to fix it yourself. But most people don't know how to fix their cars by themselves. So literally that's the only thing you can do, really.
Now check out what this manager tells us at the Firestone Repair Shop in Montclair, New Jersey.
Hi. Good.
His technician says our mass airflow sensor is filled with carbon and needs to be cleaned. He recommends a fuel system cleaning for an extra $99.
The car is going to run a lot smoother, more efficient, and it will prevent this from happening again.
But our hidden camera shows the technician is able to locate what's really wrong with the car. Here, he plugs in that loose wire and closes the hood. Still, he tells us he did an extensive cleaning of that mass airflow sensor.
Did you guys clean inside there?
Yeah, I had to open it all up.
When we later contacted the shop, that manager tells us he was shocked. The corporate headquarters told us it is unacceptable to us if misleading, incomplete, or inaccurate information was presented at our Montclair location, and they are investigating. That brings...
So this is a corporate location, so don't think that corporate places like, chain places aren't going to scam you either.
Us to this repair shop, Monty's in North Babylon, New York.
Hi, I've called. My service engine light's on.
Our hidden cameras show that Monty's fixed the actual problem seconds after opening that hood by plugging that loose wire back in. But all of a sudden, the mechanic tells our producer she should replace the entire mass airflow sensor, stripping her wallet of more than $300. Maybe we should call this place the Full Monty.
I'm trying to scare you, but I let you know from the beginning. Those parts are so expensive.
But there's good news. The mechanic then suggests a less expensive fix. He can take the sensor apart and fix it for the bargain price of $190.
$190, I can remedy the problem.
When we return to pick up the vehicle, the mechanic proudly shows Stephanie their work, saying the sensor has been taken apart and fixed and that the engine is sparkling clean to boot.
So what I do, I open it, and go one by one, clean it,
Okay.
I should make a video, so I'll show you the video.
Oh wait, there is video. When we check our hidden cameras, we discover that Monty's never even touched that sensor they said they would take apart. We did get a quick spray and rinse of that engine, and of course our loose wire was plugged in.
Theo Benitez with 2020.
Time to get some answers, so we returned to Monty's for a little heart-to-heart.
You said you took apart the sensor, and you actually didn't do anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? You want to see what the video says? Because you never actually took it apart. There was a hidden camera watching every single moment. And all you did was you sprayed it.
Oh, you know what? You did the camera off?
He now says another mechanic did the actual work. That mechanic later told us all he did to fix the problem was plug the wire back in, and he said there must have been a break in communication. The Automotive Service Association says the majority of the service repair industry is ethical and only charges the consumer for necessary work.
Most mechanics are honest.
Our expert mechanic Audra agrees. Still, she says you should always question your estimate and get a second opinion if you're skeptical. By the way, if you think it's only women who are vulnerable to shady mechanics, think again.
Women are preyed upon because it's assumed that they don't know anything, when in fact, the dads of today don't know very much about cars either.
And she has some very simple advice. Read your owner's manual.
That would solve a lot of problems because you would have confidence. Why do people take advantage of you? Because you don't know. Don't let them.
And this is the next scam that we got here. This is the free vacation scam, which you guys might have heard of this one before too.
Promise of free airplane tickets arrived at your doorstep tomorrow. You might think it was a holiday miracle or proof you were definitely on the nice list this year. When it happened to us, we were skeptical and decided to track down this free vacation. Guess what happened? Here's ABC's chief business and economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
Tis the season for giving and traveling. So when 2 free airline tickets anywhere in the country plus 2 nights at a hotel show up in the mailbox, it may seem like holiday cheer.
Just gonna go in and ask them a couple of questions.
Tonight, we're on a mission tracking the anatomy of a free vacation runaround.
So where's our free trip?
Our story starts here a couple of months ago.
So Almin got this note
where our then executive producer received a letter congratulating him on a dream vacation.
that says, in addition, you will receive 2 nights at any one of our over 1,000 Marriott hotel locations. The retail value of this award is up to $1,398.
Sounds pretty good.
There was just one problem. When we Googled the phone number we were supposed to call, we got this. Complaints, and lots of them from people who received letters just like this one.
And it all goes back to that phone number.
That phone number.
That we're about to call
there.
right now.
So we decided to schedule an appointment with this mystery company.
I received a letter in the mail telling me to call this number about some free tickets.
To claim our free trip.
It sounds like you're telling me if I come, I stay for the 90-minute presentation, I get 2 tickets. Sounds like a good deal.
On the day, we sent 2 ABC News producers wearing hidden cameras
Button cam.
to attend the seminar and pick up those free tickets.
If you look at this, inside it's actually a camera.
The location in Brooklyn, New York.
Well, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? All
right.
The seminar kicks off with James congratulating the group on being invited.
Whatever gifts were promised to you for coming out today, you are going to receive it, whether you join here today or not, because this is a presentation about vacation and travel.
What we find is a relentless sales pitch that lasts more than 90 minutes.
Guys, let me break it all down for you. Now, if this program can't save you 1 nickel, then I suggest that you don't buy it. But everybody in this room sounds like you've done a little travel. So you will be very impressed with what I'm going to share with you.
At the conclusion of the seminar, James's associates come in to close the sale for vacation packages that cost thousands of dollars.
You know, we think we're just going to not sign up. I'm sorry.
But that doesn't seem to make a difference. As it becomes apparent, our producers are not willing to sign up. They're moved to 3 different locations with 3 different salespeople, each trying to get us to sign up.
So basically, this is very much a scam too. The free vacation tickets scam. This is a very common scam that happens in America. And also, one other thing that I wanted to mention earlier, I just forgot to mention on the mechanic scam. The mechanic scam is actually more common in America than it actually is in India. The reason for that, the reason that that scam is more common in America than in India is because people in India, they drive, they use primarily public transit. So like especially people in cities, a lot of people in cities, they don't drive around in their cars. They use public transit, buses, taxis. And a lot of people actually in India, what they do is they actually drive motorcycles. Motorcycles are much more common. The rate of motorcycles are more common in India than they are in America. But there's a difference. The reason that motorcycles are more common in India than in America is because people in India use motorcycles primarily for business. They use motorcycles primarily to get from one place to another, for their jobs, transporting, and such. People in America use motorcycles primarily for leisure, just fun, activities. That's just pretty much it. Motorcycles are cheaper than cars, and so that's why a lot of people in India drive around on motorcycles. But basically, that's why, for example, in India, you will have a lot of those call centers pop up. The reason you have a lot of those call centers pop up is because people in India, like I said earlier, is that a very common job in India is tech support. It's a very common job that people learn how to. People go into tech support because it's a common job and it is people that are constantly hiring for it. So it's not a very difficult job to get into. And they learn the skills from the tech support, from that job. And what they do is then they create their own scam call centers and that's pretty much it. So there's a lot of companies that basically, open up call centers, real, actual, legitimate call centers in India. And they offer, a lot of Indians jobs in that field. And there are people from that field that basically, they take the skills they learn from that tech support, and they use that to basically create, scam call centers. That's why the call center scam is pretty common in India, because there's so many people that, learn call center skills, and so because of that, they take advantage of that, and they use that to set up basically their own call centers. In America, the reason that in America you have more of these mechanic scammers than in India is because there's just more cars. More people drive around on their cars. Well, technically, I guess India has more cars, but people in America, Americans tend to drive cars more. They tend to own cars and drive cars at a higher rate than Indians do. A lot more Indians use public transportation than Americans. And so because Americans rely on their own personal cars a lot to get around, is that mechanics basically take advantage of that because there's more people driving. So by that default is you're going to have, more mechanic scammers. But about this vacation scam, basically, what this scam is they send you the tickets in the mail, and they tell you, you have won, 2 free tickets, like for example, to go to this place, this cruise or whatever, wherever else, and they'll tell you got to attend the seminar. Now, once you attend the seminar, what happens is you have these aggressive salespeople that, come to you, and they basically keep trying to, sell you stuff, sell you packages. You don't want it. And then what they will do is they will tell you, oh, you need to purchase this package in order to get your tickets. And eventually you will get the tickets for the cruise. So eventually, in most cases, well, I wouldn't say most cases, but in a lot of cases, you will get the tickets. But what will happen is they will make you purchase other packages to basically get that tickets. And they'll tell you, oh, it's in the fine print right here, even though it's like really small. And the amount that you spend on those packages is even more than you would spend on the regular vacation. So you've been pretty much scammed at that point.
Congratulations, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
Over 2 hours after we walk in the door, we're still empty-handed.
What's up with the tickets that were?
We're eventually given these vouchers for a free trip. So far, our free trip has only cost us the 2 hours we spent at the seminar. But there's more. To get the actual vouchers, we have to send in money. That's not a trip.
Well, it's an activation form. We sent in $150 only to get more offers asking for more money.
An activation form.
That's right. 15 days after sending in our activation form, we didn't get tickets in the mail, but instead a solicitation for more money.
It's been about 2 months now since we first met PPV Travel in Long Island. Now we've tracked them down in New Jersey, and we're going to go meet them at one of those 90-minute presentations so we can ask them a few questions. We understand that they're in the basement right now preparing.
Look at where these guys are. Look at this Holiday Inn Express. This area there. That's no coincidence. Because they can just pack up and leave. So they can just rent like a floor in the hotel for their their stupid free ticket scam event, and then they can just pack up and leave. And so a lot of time, these scammers, I will tell you about them, is they are harder to prosecute than a lot of other scammers, because the scammers will argue, oh, we're offering a service, we're offering, vacation tickets, we're offering packages here. So it's a lot harder to prove that these guys have ill intent, but they very much do.
Preparing to give one of these presentations that we've already visited. We know basically what happens inside, and we're just going to go in and ask them a couple of questions.
When we first walked in, we saw some of the same familiar faces from that first seminar.
How are you? I'm Rebecca Jarvis with ABC News.
But they quickly left, leaving us with this guy who calls himself Thorn.
I'm just going to ask a couple of quick questions. Okay. At the presentation, we were told, again, that we had qualified for this complimentary travel, right? And then we were asked to pay $150 for that travel. We did pay the money, but instead of getting any kind of complimentary travel, instead we were sent these. Is this a ticket?
These are the certificates from the third-party marketing company.
So is that a ticket? Is that my complimentary travel?
Over the next 20 minutes, Thorn dodges question after question.
Does it say PPV anywhere on here?
And can't seem to explain why that free trip costs so much money.
But again, I'm not seeing any free tickets. Nothing complimentary here.
I appreciate you. It is complimentary. They are free gifts. They are complimentary.
Where are the complimentary tickets?
I'll be forward with you. We give a 90-minute presentation. If you attended a presentation, then this form was signed.
The company claims that the free gifts are fulfilled by an outside company, and they're not responsible for fulfilling the trip.
Okay. I'll be frank with you. Again, that's what this says. You were promised gifts from a third-party provider.
The New York Attorney General says third-party companies can be a sign of trouble.
These companies manage to evade prosecution and make it harder for offices like mine to track them down by changing their names, changing the descriptions.
We sent in the money. We got these. Then we were told if you want the ticket, you have to pay an activation fee for $59 a person.
Which was identified.
That's not complimentary.
Yeah, it was the form that you were promised for coming in. If you read the small print on the back...
Thorn admits that you have to jump through hoops.
You have to jump through hoops for complimentary gifts.
You jumped through hoops. How many hoops did you jump through? Just an estimation.
To put it frankly, you mail these in, follow the instructions, provided all instructions are followed. For instance, you got these. As long as you follow these individual instructions, you will receive 2 round-trip airline tickets anywhere in the continental United States, as promised.
Thorn requested a second interview in his offices, but neither he nor anyone else from PPV Travel ever got back to us.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we still don't have that complimentary hotel stay or those complimentary tickets that we were promised. And now we've been offered a new deal. That's what we've got in front of us right now, a new opportunity to do more business with this company, but still no tickets, no hotel, none of the complimentary stuff that we were promised up front.
If someone is calling you up or emailing you or writing you a letter with something that seems too good to be true, it probably is not true.
For Nightline, I'm Rebecca Jarvis.
Yep, exactly. That's basically the free ticket scam. Oh, and here we got another scam. This is the this one right here. This is again the water heater leaks, the water heater fix scam.
Heater goes, you call the plumber. But how can you tell if the plumber that you call isn't taking you for a ride? In the second part of our series, in which we filled a house with hidden cameras, we put plumbers to the test. And Lisa Guerrero tells us what we found.
Deep inside the house that's watching you sits this hot water heater. Before surrounding every angle with hidden cameras, we called in the experts.
It's in great condition. This is in perfect working order, and it's definitely not broken.
Steve Ciara with Honest Plumbing and Heating, John Heine with Heine Plumbing and Heating, and Bill Diamond with Diamond Plumbing and Heating all say, although it's older, it's in top condition.
So can we create a small problem that any tech worth his salt would be able to come in and fix like that?
Absolutely. Very
Show
simple.
me what we can do.
Well, we could loosen this up right here.
By doing that, we created a small water leak.
The only water here is coming from this nut.
Correct.
And we could tighten it with this wrench.
Yep.
That's it.
Simple as that.
So will they fix this simple leak, or will they try to sell me a new water heater?
There is an issue with my hot water heater. 7 plumbers all quickly discover the leak and fix it with a simple turn of the wrench.
You don't need a new water heater.
This technician didn't even charge us a service fee. Great work, guys.
Yeah.
As for this
So there are, good people in the field. They ran into, they got lucky too, and they ran into 7 honest, technicians that fixed the problem right away, and didn't overcharge them. But then you run into scammers.
Well, check it out for yourselves.
This thing is cracked.
Before even examining the heater, he had bad news.
Oh, it's broken for sure. It's cracked for sure.
It couldn't just be a leak from somewhere else?
No. Usually, like I said, it'll crack from up top, it'll crack from the side, leak from the bottom.
And the price for a new water heater?
Somewhere around like 1,500.
Time to pull the plug on this plumber.
Let me show you something. See this wrench? All you have to do is tighten it up using this wrench, and the water stops. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that what you should have done to begin with?
I mean, I really didn't want to fidget with anything. I mean, come on.
Our expert
I really didn't want to fidget with anything. That's your job.
says that's a lame excuse and believes
His goal today was to sell a hot water heater, and that's unfortunate.
he later told us he was a new technician and made an honest mistake.
Hi, how's it going?
This plumber was also quick to hand out bad news.
You need a new water heater.
You could tell already?
Yeah.
And it definitely has to get replaced.
Definitely, 100%.
But check this out.
Now it looks like he's fixing it.
Back in our control room on hidden camera, we watch him appear to fix the leak.
So it's definitely broken.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Total cost?
Somewhere like 1,700 altogether.
Time to tell him this house has been watching him all along.
I'd like to know why you tried to sell me a hot water heater that I don't need.
This is broken right here.
That's not broken, that was loosened.
I tried to show him the easy fix.
Does this need to be replaced?
My personal opinion, it needs to be replaced.
Is it broken?
Yes.
It's not broken.
Yes, it is.
He told me that it was broken. I said, are you sure? And he said 100%. What's your response?
It's absolutely 100% wrong.
Then it was on to his next job.
That last plumber's.
So basically, that's what happens. Another one of the repair scams is literally the only way you can avoid stuff like this is you either know how to fix it yourself or you know somebody honest in the field. That is literally the only way that you can really fix the situation like this. And if you run into a company that gives you good service, use that company for life. Even if the competition around them is charging less, because you know what to expect with that company. You know that they've always been good to you, and so that's what I would recommend to you. Because honestly, I'd rather pay more and deal with a company that I'm familiar with and I know is honest than taking a risk and paying less of a company that I've never dealt with before. And this right here, this is actually another scam that I wanted to show you guys. This is a scam that happens in New York, actually, where I'm from. It's actually very common. And if you ever visit my country, if you ever visit the United States, if you go to Times Square, watch out for this, because scammers will try to get you in Times Square with this. But look at this. This is the Mascot scam.
New complaints about those costume characters in Times Square, from harassing people to demanding money from tourists. Some say the new changes haven't made a difference. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez went to see what's happening there.
The blue lines painted on the ground in Times Square make it clear where the costume characters and entertainers are allowed to solicit for tips. But there was no one there at 1 this afternoon. Instead, they were breaking the rules on the corner of 42nd Street and 7th Avenue. Our video shows a group ganging up on tourist Renelle Nicholas Best after taking a picture with her 6- and 2-year-old sons.
My friend was giving them $2 and they was like, I don't want that, I don't want that. I said, but it's still money. So.
But they wanted bigger bills?
I think they wanted more.
This type of aggressive behavior was part of the.
Look at that. What these scammers basically do is they dress up as costume characters and they walk around Times Square. Now, this blue box that you see here, this is actually where they are supposed to be in. They're not supposed to be outside of the blue box. That's actually illegal. The New York City police put up these blue boxes primarily to stop these scammers, but they don't listen to it. And they still basically, do this. Basically what the scam is is they will approach people. Oftentimes they target the two most common people they target is tourists and kids. And they target kids because they know that kids like a lot of these characters. So like you look at what this scammer does right here. Is just
What they wanted bigger bills?
I think they wanted more.
This type
look at the kid walking. Look.
of aggressive behavior was part of the reason the city established designated activity zones a year ago.
They all get there. And basically, they want the mother to then take a picture. And what they will do is, once you take a picture, they will be like, give us $50, give us $50, give us $100. And they will be very pushy. They will be very aggressive. Like, they won't actually, threaten you, but they'll be very aggressive. Give me $50, give me $100. We gave you a picture, we gave you a service, they'll be extremely pushy until you give them the money.
Zones a year ago. The 8 areas marked in blue show where the characters can work.
At the beginning of July, the Times Square Alliance spent a Saturday between 4 and 9 p.m. observing the designated activity zones and found the costume characters were regularly violating the rules.
The Alliance says 88% of the interactions involved a costume character touching a member of the public without consent. This surveillance video from April shows several incidents where characters corral unsuspecting tourists, often children, outside the zone to take photos before demanding tips for everyone.
I'd like a strategy where the NYPD does observations and really identifies who are the people that are the repeat offenders that are more aggressive, more education that says, this is what is appropriate and this is what's inappropriate.
Police say arrests have gone down, arresting 5 costume characters so far this year compared to 26 during the same time last year. The Alliance says the characters are part of the fabric that makes Times Square what it is. The problem is when they cross the line. In Times Square, Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
So the New York City police are actually failing in this. Like, they need to do more to stop this. Like, these blue squares or these rectangles are not doing their job because the scammers aren't listening. These scammers need to start getting mass arrested. Literally, that's basically the NYPD needs to go up. Like, the NYPD should have cops literally go up and down Times Square every day to make sure these guys are not harassing people and then arrest these guys. I guess find them maybe the first time and the second time just arrest them. Basically, that. Just clean this up. And also, they will target tourists, so tourists will walk around and they'll notice if you're a tourist because they'll see you taking pictures right away. A lot of New Yorkers actually don't take pictures around Times Square. They're pretty familiar with the area, so they see you taking pictures. That's a flag to them right away that you are actually a tourist. There actually are 2 more versions of this scam. There's also the Buddhist Tibetan monk scam, and you're probably wondering, Buddhist Tibetan monk, what is that? The scam. Basically what that is these guys will walk up and down Times Square and they'll be wearing like a traditional Buddhist monk robe, and they will basically tell you like a story about how people in Tibet, Buddhists in Tibet, are being oppressed by the Chinese government, and that they are, and that would you like to get like a bracelet right now to help like support the cause. And a lot of people just take the bracelet because they tell them it's not free of charge, and then what they will do afterwards is they'll tell you, give me a $100 donation. We're building a new Buddhist temple here in New York. Give us that. And the thing about this is this scam preys on people's good nature. Now, the Chinese government definitely oppresses people in Tibet. They definitely have oppressed Buddhist monks. 100% that definitely happens. But the thing about this is these Buddhist monks are not real Buddhist monks. They are actually pretending to be Buddhist monks from Tibet, and they are telling people that, we're collecting money for, a new, giving people a bracelet at first. People think, they're helping the cause, and then they tell them, give us a donation to help, the Buddhist monk temple. But there is no Buddhist monk temple they're building. They're literally just pocketing the donations. And if you actually ask them, where is this temple being built, they don't give you any kind of information on that. And they'll get these Buddhist monks will get, or fake Buddhist monks, I should say, will get extremely aggressive with you if you actually do not give them a donation. So if they try to give you like a bracelet or anything like that, somebody tries to give you that, do not take that. I had that happen to me in Chicago. In Chicago, I actually encountered a scam like this. So when I was recording that Aiden Pierce video in Chicago, when I was actually going to Chicago, ironically wearing the Aiden Pierce costume right now, but I went to Chicago last year and I was recording like different neighborhoods in Chicago, and I was recording it primarily for my Watch Dogs video, like comparing the map in Chicago to comparing the map in Watch Dogs. But basically, I went to a Target, and I went to a Target because I wanted to buy a selfie stick because I was so stupid. I literally traveled to Chicago and I forgot my selfie stick. I don't know how that happened. I was an idiot for forgetting it, but I had to buy a new selfie stick, and so I was looking up stores in the area, the neighborhood that I was staying in, to see if there was actually like a selfie stick anywhere. I walked into a Target in downtown Chicago. I think it was called the Loop, and literally what happened was I got the selfie stick. The second I walked out the Target main doors, I started getting harassed by this guy. Like, I don't even know where he came from. It was like before I could even fully get out of the door, the guy just got up in my face, and he basically starts telling me, hey, do you want a free pin for your shoe? Like, I'll attach this free pin to your shoe. Do you want a pin? Do you want a pin? And he had like a whole box of like all these different colored pins, and I was telling him like, no, I don't want it. And he's like, are you sure? It's free. Are you sure? I was like, no. He was talking so fast. He was being like really pushy. He's like, no, I don't want it. And I walked away. And the second I walked away, without even hesitating, he stopped the next person that literally walked out the door. The next person that walked out the door, Lee said the same thing. Hey, you want a pin? You want a free pin? And that person agreed to it. And he started putting it on his shoe. And I think it was the exact same thing. I didn't know what the scam was at first. I didn't know what it was, like, because when I felt there was something off about it. I didn't know what it was, but when I was telling you guys about it on my channel, I was telling you guys about it on the stream. A lot of you guys told me what the scam was. Is that the guy with the pin? What he was gonna do is he was gonna do the exact same thing, where he was going to pressure you into giving him a donation right after that. That is pretty much what the thing is. And it's very hard to arrest these people a lot of times. New York City has made it illegal for the mascots here, but a lot of other places it's actually illegal. It's hard to get these people off the streets, because what happens is they will say, oh, I'm not pulling a scam, I'm just asking for donations. That's basically what. And so it's a lot harder to prove that these people are trying to pull a scam. So you need to prove intent, and that's basically why it gets hard to basically get these scammers off the streets. The second kind of scam in New York City that you'll encounter is also the rapper CD scam. The rapper CD scam, people are probably wondering. The rapper CD scam is very common. It's a scam that has been going on in New York for decades. Ever since CDs became a thing, it's been going on. And so basically what happens is there are these guys that will walk up to you in Times Square, and they will basically say a few verses like for a song that they're supposedly recording, and they're basically like, I'm an aspiring rapper, like, I'm gonna be big one day, I'm gonna be famous, hey, do you want to get one of my CDs here, give me like a $50 donation, here's my mixtape, take that, and I'll get your name down when I'm famous one day, when I'm a really big rapper, I will remember you. But this is a scam. Oftentimes there's nothing on the mixtape. Oftentimes the mixtape is just empty or just some garbage. So it's basically people just walking up and down Times Square pretending to be some aspiring rapper that they're gonna be big, and they're just lying to you. Now this rapper CD scam is so common in New York that literally GTA 4 even made fun of it. Now if you are a New Yorker, when they had those Paphos missions in GTA 4, you know exactly what Rockstar's making fun of with the Paphos missions, because Paphos is this rapper that Nico actually meets in GTA 4, and he basically tells him, hey, you want my CD, stuff like that. And then there's like some people that attack Paphos and you have to help him, but basically Paphos was a scammer. That's pretty much what it was. Paphos was not a legitimate guy. He was basically just lying about his whole mixtape, but that was basically the story of Paphos. And Nico actually emails Paphos and actually tells him in one of his responses, you should be a politician, you'll be good at it. And basically what Nico is basically saying to him in a nice way, you're a liar. That's basically what he's saying with the email. But Paphos can't seem to figure out what Nico meant when he said that you should be a politician. But that's basically is the scam is so out of control, the rapper scam, that even GTA 4 made fun of it. And guess where you meet Paphos? In Star Junction, which is Times Square in GTA 4. And this right here, I'm going to talk about insurance fraud, which is actually the most common scam that actually happens in my parents' country of Poland. I'll also link this down below. This is where my parents are from, their country, Poland. This scam is very common there. But basically what I'm getting at here is that there are different scams that are more common in certain countries. Every country has a scam that's more common in their country than in other countries. But there's still, scammers everywhere. The scams might be different, in the type of scam that they are, but there's different types of scams basically everywhere. And so basically we're talking about Nigeria. The most common scam from Nigeria is basically that romance scam, or that bot scam, the one with the investment scam. The investment scams and romance scams are more common from Nigeria than they are from India or America, but at the same time is in America, the mechanic scam is you are more likely to get scammed by a mechanic in America than you actually are in Nigeria and India, and that's because more Americans own a cars at a higher rate than people in Nigeria and India do. And, they drive their own personal cars, and because of that, you're going to have more mechanic scams. The reason that you're going to have, a lot of tech support scams in India is because, like I said, tech support is a very common job that people in India go into, and we're talking legitimate tech support before we talk about the scams. A lot of people go into tech support in India. It's a very common job that people do because it's not a job that requires physical, labor. And it's a job that people can learn easily, and also a lot of Indians also speak English as a second language. India is one of the, has millions of English speakers. And so because a lot of people learn English and, you know, they want to go into tech support, it's not a physical labor job that requires, I wouldn't say it's an easy job, but it's not like, you know, necessarily like working at a factory. So a lot of Indians, they get jobs for like American companies, for example, like, you know, AT&T or Verizon. That's like when you call up like those companies and you get transferred to a representative. That's why a lot of times you're talking to a representative of that company in India, because a lot of these companies, they will outsource these jobs to India, because in India, workers get paid less than America. And so they outsource these jobs to India so that they can basically pay their workers less. And that's why, that is also why you have a lot of these tech support scams pop up, because tech support is a very common job in India, and because of that, the scammers are former tech support representatives for some of these actual companies. And what they will do is they will take their skills in customer service they've learned in tech support, and they will use that to basically use deceit and lie to people and trick people. And that's why the tech support scammers, they talk like real tech support people at first. You know, how they talk about customer service and all the other stuff, because they were trained. They've previously been in tech support, and so that's why tech support scams are, you know, more common in India, because it's a lot of people that, you know, go into tech support specifically in India, but also mechanic scams are more common in America because more people own cars, you know, at a higher rate than people in India do. So you're more likely to encounter like, you're more likely to encounter like a mechanic scammer in America than you are in like a place like India or Nigeria, for example. And as for insurance fraud is the most common scam that's actually in Poland, and insurance fraud is so out of control in Poland. It is literally so out of control, it's ridiculous. And also about the insurance fraud is, I'm not sure why insurance fraud is so out of control in Poland. I think the reason insurance fraud is so out of control in Poland is because Poland used to be a former communist country, and so people were actually not able to own their cars in Poland beforehand. Well, technically, I guess it was your car, but you had to be put on a list. You were put on a government list, and you had to wait several years to be able to get your own personal car. And so what happened is when capitalism came into Poland, people got really excited, and people had a dream of being able to basically own their own personal cars. They wanted to own their own personal cars, and basically they take care of their cars, they pride in their cars a lot, and so insurance fraudsters will take advantage of that. They know a lot more people want to own cars, they want to drive cars, because they haven't been allowed to beforehand. And so because of that, I think insurance fraudsters are going to take advantage of it. I think that's primarily the reason, because people in Poland were excited to buy cars, and so the insurance fraudsters took advantage of that. But if you notice that insurance fraud is not just very common in Poland, it's very common in Eastern Europe. So, you know, Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, insurance fraud is very common in those places. And the thing I'll say about this is, if you notice that, you ever notice those videos on YouTube where you see like those crazy Russian car accidents on dash cams, and people have this like negative impression, and they think that people in Eastern Europe and Russia, Poland, Ukraine are like really, and Belarus are like really bad drivers. But the reality of it is that people in Eastern Europe are just as good drivers as anywhere else. The reason you see so many car crashes happening in Eastern Europe is because people have dash cams. Because people have dash cams in the vast majority of people have dash cams in Eastern Europe, you're going to see those videos recorded. In America, for example, not a lot of people drive around with dash cams, and because of that, a lot of the accidents are actually not recorded, the crazy accidents. People don't see them. But people put dash cams on their cars primarily for this reason, to avoid insurance fraud. So this is from a law firm that's in Poland, but take a look at this. Detecting insurance fraud. According to estimates by the Polish Chamber of Commerce, between 30 to 40% of all claims paid out are extortions. These figures illustrate the scale of the problem, which is growing as the number of insurance frauds is forecast to increase further. Most often this applies to vehicle compensation under AC and civil liability insurance. Given the prevalence of such practices, it is very important to have adequate compliance regulations. Among insurance crimes, the predominant offenses are those described in Articles 286, 1 and 3 of the Polish Criminal Code. This is the causing of an unfavorable disposition of property of another entity by misleading it or taking advantage of such a mistake. The number of classic insurance frauds described by Article 298 of the Polish Criminal Code is also very high. Slightly less frequent are computer insurance frauds and crimes described in the Insurance and Reinsurance Business Act. So look at this. Between 30 to 40% of all insurance claims that are paid in Poland are extortions. They are some form of insurance scam. That is pretty much what it is. That is basically what the insurance fraud is. So what these scammers do, there's a few different versions of this scam. What they will do is they will sometimes, when you are driving, they will actually jump in front of your car. They won't jump in front of your car when you're driving fast, like maybe like on a side street. If you're going like 5 miles per hour, they will literally jump on the hood of your car when you're going like 5 miles per hour, so that they get minimal injuries, and they will say, "Oh, you hit me when I was crossing the street. This is going to be a lawsuit now, as pay me hundreds of zloty, which is zloty is the Polish money, or I'm going to report this to the police." And people get scared and they pay the scammers money. Or what the scammers will do is the scammers will oftentimes back up into you. They will back up into you, And once they back up into you, they will basically say, oh, you know, we're going to call up the insurance. You hit me in behind right here, as, you know, now we're going to get my insurance company involved. And oftentimes they will do this with expensive cars, like BMWs, so scammers will drive. They will slowly back up into you, and then they'll just tell the insurance company, oh, you know, this person hit me from behind, when they actually backed up into you slowly. And basically, the only way to really prevent this scam is to have dash cams. If you have a dash cam, you never have to worry about the scammers ripping you off. But if you don't have a dash cam, and I'm telling you, if you visit Poland and you are driving, you have to have a dash cam, because these scams, like I said, are sort of controlled. And unfortunately, these insurance fraud scams, they give Polish people like a really bad name too. You know, and like a lot of people in Western Europe, like a lot of people, France, Britain, and Germany, whenever they think of insurance fraud, they typically think of Slavs, you know, committing these acts, because there's just so much insurance fraud that is going on in Eastern Europe. But in those countries like Germany, France, and Britain, they have their own different scams. So like every country has, like, you know, some scams that are more common in each country, but at the end of the day, every single country has its fair bit of scammers. But anyways, let me, you know, show you this, for example. And this is basically insurance fraud. This is in Polish, but this is basically insurance fraud. Let's take a look at this. Oh, this clip is, you know, being sped up. Let me just slow this down. But watch, see this BMW, expensive car right here, right? Watch basically what happens. Just watch this. Watch this. So, basically, light is going to change any moment now. He can turn now, see? Green arrow. Watch him. Look, see this? Look. Watch this. Look. See that? He drove a little bit and then stopped. And there's nothing passing here. Because he wants the driver to hit him. He wants the driver in this to hit him. And then he'll basically say, oh, you hit me. You know, now I want an insurance payout. And because he has a BMW, he's going to get a pretty good payout. Look, again, he stopped. See that? Again, he's doing it again. See that? And he gave up at this point, too. But that's basically it. If I was this driver, yeah. See, this driver just pulled over. This driver did the right thing. You don't want to stay behind this person because he's gonna keep doing it. But that's basically what insurance fraud is. And then take a look at this one here too. This clip here has no volume, but it's basically the same thing. See this? Look, BMW. Look. See that? They just backed up into him. This guy is a dash cam, so he's good. But look, these scammers are, you know, driving an expensive car. They're dressed in suits, too. And this is, they're pretending to be upset over the damage. But then this guy basically points to the camera. He says, I got a dash cam. Look at how the scammers basically change. They change at this point. They realize it's not worth it, and they're going to leave. See that? They're going to get in, and they're going to drive off. Here's what I would do if I was you, though. If I was this guy, I wouldn't have told them I had a dash cam. I wouldn't have told them. I would have actually called the police. I would have said, we're going to get the police involved, and then when the police come, I would have told them I had a dash cam. So I wouldn't have told them that I have a dash cam, because they're going to drive off, and they're going to do it to somebody else. Here we go. Next one, this is another one. Another insurance fraud. See that? He did it on purpose just for her to hit him. I will also translate this, by the way. I can speak Polish.
Dlaczego pan przyhamował?
Why did you brake, sir? She said.
Ja przyhamowałem.
No
I didn't brake.
Pani widziała, co pani zrobiła przed...
Did you see what you just did, miss? That's what he said.
Widziałam.
And she said basically, I saw it. So, that was basically it, is he's trying to pull insurance fraud, but it's not going to work because she's got the footage here. But she shouldn't have told him she has a dash cam. And this is an aggressive form of it, too. Take a look at this one. This is from Stop Sham, which is he's a very good channel, which he basically exposes, like, scams in Poland. Stop Sham, if you watch this video, I hope you're okay with me reacting to this. Ja gadam o oszustwach, to mam nadzieję, że jesteś okay z tym nagraniem. That's basically what I said in Polish, that I'm watching your videos on scams and I'm reacting to it, so I hope you're okay with it. But basically, this is it. Let's watch this here. I'll translate this also. I'll link his video also. Look at the car. Watch this car. See this? Look at this. I also lower the music because it's and look, lightly tap them too. And this scammer is this guy wasn't dealing with this. He knew exactly what the scammer was. And here's the thing is, the insurance frauds in Poland have gotten sort of control that people are putting dash cams in their rear view mirrors now. Because it's just the fact that the scams are just gotten sort of control. So now the scammers are doing it from the back too. And the scammer's just following him right now. The scammer is pissed that he didn't stop for him. I'll translate this also. What's going on? You hit my car, sir.
Ja?
Me? I was honking at you for 5 minutes.
Ja uderzyłem?
I hit you?
Ja mam kamerki.
I have cameras.
Czekaj.
Wait.
Halo.
Hello? Why don't you show me the camera footage, he's saying.
Jak ja uderzyłem, jak pan...
How did I... Wait.
Był za mną.
How did I hit you when you were behind me?
Pan się cofał do tyłu i trąbiłem na pana.
You were backing up to me and I was honking at you. No, he wasn't backing up. You were going towards him.
Jeszcze pan teraz ucieka z miejsca zdarzenia. Zapaliłem światła, wsiadłem do pana, a pan odjechał.
I was honking at you, sir, and you drove off.
Nie ma nie ma. Po pierwsze pan ucieka, po drugie pan uderzył.
I can't hear this. I have cameras, that's the only thing I heard. You want this kind of discussion, sir? And the disgusting thing is there's a child in this car too. So literally the scammer, it's bad enough the scammer is doing this, but when there's a child in the car too and the child's getting upset too.
Ale tata, jak to zrobić? Tata tego nie zrobi. Ja nie poczułam żadnego boomu.
Też nie.
And the scammer is still following him.
License and registration? Chicken
That was just edited in.
Jedno słowo wystarczy. A jakie? Przepraszam. No ale... Bo uderzył pan we mnie. Ale ja... Nic się nie stało.
Like, I'm gonna try to translate this.
Słowo wystarczy.
Let me just try to see if I can get this.
Jedno słowo wystarczy.
All you had to do was just say one thing. I think he's trying to say to him, you should have just apologized.
A jakie?
What am I supposed to say? You're supposed to say you're sorry.
Bo uderzył pan we mnie. Ale...
You hit me.
Nic się nie stało.
Nothing happened.
Nic się nie stało. Wystarczyło...
What do you mean nothing happened?
powiedzieć. A pan...
All you had to do was say you're sorry.
Taki ham.
And he's basically, the scammer is calling him a scumbag now.
Nawet tego słowa pan nie... You know what? Let's start speaking in English, okay? Pan powiedzieć. Okay, let's start speaking in English, okay? You can be an asshole too.
I think that final part there was edited in. I don't think that was that was real. That English part. But basically is and then the scammer basically panicked at that point that he was recorded, and I think he was just basically saying all you had to do was say to me you're sorry. But the scammer still couldn't even admit guilt at that point. The scammer could have said let's just eat. I think he was trying to get him to forget about it. He knew he wasn't gonna get any money out of the guy. He probably was scared the guy was gonna go to the police. But that was basically that. And then here from Stop Sham also we got one more. This is and this one, the guy who does this scam I think is actually from England and he does it in Poland.
Bez przesady.
pan wbiega na pasy?
Why did you run in the lanes?
Czemu pan wbiega na pasy?
Why did you run in the lanes, sir?
Hit me on the crossing.
No, I
can't
don't
hear him.
hit you. I have a camera. I have a camera.
Let's start the camera then.
Okay.
Give me the
Okay.
camera. Let's
Okay.
call the police. Give me the camera.
Okay, no problem.
So again, that was a form of insurance fraud. It was kind of it was kind of weird that it was like an English guy that was doing this in the middle of the night in Poland, but that was basically it. But yeah, this is basically the most common scams that happen in Poland. So basically, what I'm getting at, I know this video is kind of long with this. I was trying to get at that every single country has scams that are more common in their countries than in other countries. But then there might be other scams in other countries that are more common in those countries than in the other countries. So the point that I'm getting at is that scammers are all over the place. Scammers, there's so many different types of scams. Insurance fraud, vacation scams, telemarketing, gift card scams, pretending to be the IRS, pretending to be Windows, repair scams, the list just goes on and on and on. So that pretty much wraps up this video here, guys. What pushed me to make this video is when I just see so many comments of just people accusing India of being like a nation of scammers, when in reality is there's so many scams around the world, and there's different types of scams. And while tech support scams might be more common in India than other countries, there are other countries where there's scams that are actually more common in those countries than in India. Like, for example, the mechanic scam. You are more likely to get scammed by a mechanic in America than you are getting scammed by a mechanic in India. So there's different types of scams all around the world, but people don't think of like the scams like I showed in this video, like the mechanic scam. They typically think of the tech support scam. And most people actually did not even know that the extended car warranty scam, largely actually comes from America. It's largely Americans that are actually running that scam and calling people up and harassing them. And it's basically, fake companies or even like real companies, but oftentimes the agreement that they make you sign will only cover specific parts of your warranty, which is still pretty much a scam. But yeah, the extended car warranty scam is pretty much mostly an American scam. But, going back to India here, is the reason that these ultimately is that tech support scams are just so common in India. It's a combination of factors, but, starting off here at the beginning is that tech support, and we're talking legal tech support, like actual legal jobs in tech support, is a very common job in India. And, in a lot of companies, especially a lot of Western companies, they outsource their call centers to India, because they can pay their Indian workers less than they can in the Western countries. And so a lot of Indians, because they speak English as a second language, they take jobs at call centers. And unfortunately, some of those people that end up working in those call centers take the skills in customer service they learn from those call centers and basically use that for malicious purposes in order to basically create these scam call centers and target people, lie to them, and steal money from them. And the reason that these call centers have just exploded, out of control, is because the governments in the regions where these scams are going on are not doing enough to stop this. The police is either incompetent or corrupt, and if you don't pass laws to do something about this, it's going to get out of control. Just like I talked about the extended car warranty scam. That was the #1 telemarketing scam in America, but the American federal government got it under control, and what they did was these extended car warranty scams, they were using robocalls, basically, these voice service providers, to basically say, hey, hello, your extended car warranty is blah 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 this, and the federal government basically threatened these voice service providers and told them that your business is going to suffer penalties. We're going to fine you. We're going to go after you if you don't stop doing business with these scammers. And guess what? They dropped them just like that, and it went from 1 billion calls in a year to 7 million calls in a year. And the Indian government needs to do a similar thing. What that is punishing the companies that are involved with these tech support scams, because what happens is these tech support scammers, they are renting out floors. The office buildings that these tech support scammers are in, they don't own the office building. They don't even own the floor. They are oftentimes renting out the floors. And the reason they rent out the floors is so that they can leave quickly if they need to, because it's not really their building. It's not their property. So it's more of a paper trail to follow to get to them. But basically what they will do is they'll go to some company and or some big landlord that owns the office building, and they'll say, we want to rent out like an entire floor in your building. And the thing about this, the landlords in these big office buildings, they know 100% that these guys guys are scammers. There's no way they don't know. I mean, think about it. If you own like a really big office building, right, and you were renting out an entire floor, like in an office building, to people, and you don't even know who those people are, I guarantee you that the landlords know very well who these guys are. You know, how can you be a landlord and, you know, rent out an entire, you know, floor in your office building to these scammers and not know who they are? It's because the scammers make a lot of money, and so the landlord can, you know, charge them a lot in rent, and the scammers, you know, they don't care because they're making so much money from the scams, and the landlord is also profiting from that. So basically what India needs to do, and I really hope that somebody from the Indian government sees this, is I don't know if India has a current law on this right now, but if they do, it's not being enforced. What India needs to do, they need to pass a federal law across all their states, and the federal law basically says to these landlords in these office buildings, if you are renting out a floor to one of these, you know, tech support scam call centers, the government is going to go after you. We're going to fine you, we're going to arrest you, we're going to even confiscate your property in extreme cases unless you kick these guys out. And if they pass that law, and that law was strictly enforced, I guarantee you the amount of scam call centers would plummet just like that. But unfortunately, there is a lot of corruption in a lot of places. And what a lot of people get wrong about these scam calls in India is that these scam calls are oftentimes coming from a specific part of India. They're coming from West Bengal, a lot of them. Not every one of the scam call centers. I mean, there's scammers in, you know, Delhi call centers, in Mumbai, in Ahmedabad. But if you notice, though, whenever you watch like videos like Scammer Payback, for example, and you see like when he tracks the calls, it's coming to Kolkata a lot of times. The reason for that is because, like I mentioned earlier in the video, is that the government in West Bengal is corrupt. That is the state where Kolkata is in. The government there is incompetent, it's corrupt. They even go to send the cyber police after people who literally make memes on the governor in that region. So basically, it's the federal government in India. They need to do something about this. They need to crack down on the corruption. And so that's what a lot of people don't know, is that they don't know that, you know, crime, a lot of these scammers are coming from a specific part of India. It's coming from Kolkata and West Bengal. It's not that Indians are more prone to scamming than anyone else. They're not. You know, there's scams all over the place. But the reason that scam call centers are out of control in West Bengal is because the government isn't doing anything about it. That is the primary reason. I mean, you look at California, like, for example, like what I said earlier, with those laws in California, the shoplifting law, the Proposition 47, where if you steal like $950 for stuff, at that point, it's like a felony. Under that, it's not. And so basically what happens is the police are just not enforcing the law. They're not doing anything about it. Recently, there was actually a story where there was like an Oakland gas station in California that basically just got ransacked by a mob. A mob of people just ran in, shoplifted, stole everything. And the police didn't show up until 9 hours later. When you have situations like that, it happens also in the United States. When you have situations like that where the police are not doing their job, police are not enforcing law, criminals see that. Scammers, shoplifters, any kind of criminal will see that, and they will take advantage of the situation. The scammers target primarily foreign victims because they know it's a lot harder for the foreign victim to report a crime in India. And what ends up happening is the police also look the other way because they're either getting paid off or they don't care. That is ultimately it, because, you know, the police are a lot of the police are gonna look at it, and they're basically they're gonna think in their minds, they think they have this false impression. They think that, you know, Americans are like rich people and they all have like, you know, boatloads of cash, and they're like, oh, and, you know, American can take a hit. They're not scamming our people, so it's not a big deal. But I will say that there are also, you know, toxic people that I've seen comments on some of the videos, talking about scams. Like one of the comments that I saw in one of Scammer Payback's videos is I saw this one comment which kind of made me feel bad and kind of broke my heart, where this Indian guy, he was basically saying that he felt shame because of all the scammers in India. And, you know, what I will say about that is, you know, if you're an Indian, you know, don't feel shame for, like, the scammers in your country. Nobody should like scammers, but you shouldn't, you know, feel ashamed of your country because of the scammers. If anything, you should be, you know, pissed off at your government that they aren't, you know, doing enough to basically stop that. But, you know, India's a, you know, beautiful country with a rich history. It's one of the oldest civilizations in history, so never be ashamed of being an Indian. Just be pissed at your government. If I was an Indian, I'd just be pissed at the government. I would never be ashamed of being Indian, but I kind of felt bad when I saw that comment. I kind of felt bad for that guy. But then, unfortunately, I saw a really toxic comment actually right underneath what that guy said, and the really toxic comment is that this is revenge for colonialism. And I've actually seen a few of these comments. I have another comment up on the screen. So I've seen a few of these comments where, you know, some people in India will say, you know, the scammers are not our problem because this is revenge for colonialism, which my response to that is basically first of all, America never colonized India. The vast majority of these scammers, they target Americans. When they're targeting foreigners, the vast majority of foreigners they target are Americans. And so America never colonized India. America never invaded India. That was actually Britain and the East India Company did that. It was not, it was the British East India Company. It was not, you know, America. America did not colonize India. So I don't know, like, I've seen some of these toxic comments, you know, saying that this is revenge for colonialism, but I don't get that. You know, America never did that to India. That was primarily Britain. But What I will say is, I understand to a degree, people are, really angry about that and pissed off because, my parents' country of Poland was also a victim of colonialism and imperialism. You had Prussia, the Austrian Empire, and later Austria-Hungary and Germany and the Russian Empire constantly invading Poland, colonizing Poland, stealing Polish resources, killing Polish people. They looted Poland, for, over 100 years. They had, and then Nazi Germany invaded Poland during World War II, killed so many people. And then Poland dealt with, about, nearly 50 years of Soviet occupation. So I can understand being pissed about imperialism. I understand that these, foreign empires, they come into your country, they steal from your country, they kill your people. I get that. I know why people are, really angry about that. But what I will say is, trying to blame people in modern day and trying to look the other way and saying, this is, this is revenge for, colonialism. And also, this is a very small amount of people in India that, believe this. Very, very small amount. Because the vast majority of comments I've seen from Indians also are heavily against these scams. So just a few amount of these people that I've seen. But I also wanted to address that because I've seen, racist comments towards Indians. But then I've also seen a few racist comments towards Westerners, where basically people are just saying stuff like that. And even when it comes to British people, it's not right, scamming them. Nobody deserves to get scammed. The people that are responsible primarily for colonialism and the people responsible for imperialism are the monarchy. It is the British monarchy. Those are the people. They are living rich today because of colonialism and because of imperialism. It's also the aristocrats, the lords, the people that had, a lot of money, those influential families. But like a working class person in Britain has like nothing to do with, imperialism against India. And so that's primarily who those scammers are targeting, is they're targeting working class people in like America, Britain, Australia, New Zealand. They call primarily English speaking countries. So they are, they're targeting, working class people. They're targeting and not just working class people, elderly working class people, people who had, lived their entire, worked their entire lives and they're about to retire and they will steal their retirement. And some elderly people end up killing themselves because of these scammers. And, in response to those people who say this is revenge for, colonialism, well, I actually found one article which actually talked about the police in Ahmedabad, which the police in Ahmedabad are much better than the police in Kolkata. They were actually raided a call center, and that call center that they actually raided, that call center there was targeting Indian Americans primarily. So they were targeting immigrants from South Asia. We're talking India, Bangladesh, Pakistanis. They were targeting immigrants from South Asia. They would look up their names. They would call them in America, and they would basically say, we're from the government. We're from the IRS, which is the Internal Revenue Service. You have to pay a ton of taxes right now, or you're going to get deported. So they basically threatening, immigrants from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and they were telling them that unless you pay us a bunch of money, we're gonna, deport you, which is all just a bunch of lies. The American government is gonna call you and tell you to pay a bunch of money, or they're going to deport you. But a lot of immigrants got really scared by this, and so these Indian scammers were targeting Indian immigrants in America. So for those people that say, this is revenge for colonialism, how is that revenge if they're, targeting, if they're targeting Indian Americans also? These scammers, I'll tell you, they are horrible people. They're evil people. And for that one comment that I showed on the screen where he says these people have to live too, is being poor is no excuse for scamming. That's what I will say right now. It is no excuse whatsoever for scamming. My father grew up with almost nothing. My father grew up in communist Poland. And my father, what he had to do is he had to go on the streets and sell stuff just to be able to support his family because his father wasn't around. So my father was actually taking care of his two younger brothers because his father wasn't around a lot. And my father broke the law by selling stuff on the streets because in communist Poland, it was actually considered, enriching the capitalist system by actually selling stuff. So even though my father sold stuff, technically what he was doing was illegal. He wasn't scamming anybody. He was just selling stuff. But the point that I'm getting at is that my dad grew up, poor. And my dad did not resort to scamming or, doing anything like that. And there's millions of poor people. And also, there's hundreds of millions of poor people around the world. And for those people that say, these scammers are poor and desperate, when you say these scammers are poor and desperate, what you are doing is you are insulting the hundreds of millions of poor people around the world that are working hard and honest people. The honest people, the poor people that are all hundreds of millions of poor people that are around the world and are honest and don't resort to stuff like that by literally comparing them to scammers and saying that, scammers are poor, they have to make a living too. You are making excuses for the scammers, but not only that, is you are insulting all the honest, hardworking millions of people around the world. There are millions of people in India that are poor, working class people, and they are honest and they do not resort to scamming. And so these scammers, they're not even poor a lot of times. These scammers are making a lot of money. Some of these call centers, some of the bigger call centers, these call centers will make over 50 grand in like a month, some of the really big call centers. So these call centers will make thousands and thousands of dollars in a month. And so these scammers are living pretty well. They're stealing from poor people. They're stealing from working class people. They're taking advantage of them. And like I said, they're stealing all these people's, retirement money. These scammers are scummy people. They're horrible people. They have, no empathy for others, very little emotion. Somebody ends up killing themselves because of a scam. They don't care. They don't care. They just move on to the next victim. How the scammers basically look at it is the scammers basically think, oh, these people deserve to get scammed because they're so stupid to fall for it. But they're targeting elderly people that don't know a lot about technology. And so, like I said, these scammers are, horrible, evil people, and, don't make any kind of excuses for them. Don't do that. It's just because somebody is poor, that doesn't give you a right to then go around and scamming people like that. And what if, a scammer, scams another poor person? What about that? So literally that's basically what I'm getting at here, is that, don't listen to those arguments that say that, scammers are poor people and they're desperate. These guys are, bad, evil people. I talked to I remember a Nigerian scammer, which I talked to him, months ago when I made that video, and, basically it was like a scammer that was impersonating me, pretending to be me, and, I confronted him on it. Eventually he admitted that it was a scam, and he started basically saying that he was poor, and he was desperate, and that he wanted to go to school, and then he was asking me for a donation, which I'm not gonna believe. It's like somebody who literally impersonated me, basically was lying to my subscribers. He was basically posting comments in my comment section, lying to my subscribers, and telling them you won the professionals giveaway, and what he was gonna do is he was going to trick people into sending him hundreds of dollars on PayPal money, which was just, nonsense. And so the guy who, impersonated me, lied to my subscribers, is now going to tell me that he's, trying to get to school and asking me for a donation. It's like, and he expects me to honestly feel bad for him at that point. And honestly, I don't believe that, people, when people say stuff like that, it's like there are a lot of jobs out there that, people can do. And I will say also is a lot of these scammers, I'm not defending these scammers when I say this, I just want to be clear. A lot of these scammers are not stupid people. They're actually pretty intelligent people that they are actually able to form a lot of these scams together. And so a lot of these scammers are bilingual. They speak 2 languages already. Maybe they even speak more languages. But, they're able to put together these call centers. They're able, to talk in multiple languages, and you would think they would take those skills that they learned from the actual legal call centers, and they would apply that into some legitimate work. There's plenty of legitimate work that they can do, but they want to do as little work as possible for the max money possible, and that's ultimately what drives criminals, is they want to do the least amount of work for the most money possible, and they don't care if it's dishonest, they don't care if it's hurting anybody else, as long as it's enriching themselves. That's all they pretty much care about. And so that's pretty much it for this video. Is there are scammers all over the world. Is don't blame Indians for scams that are going on. If you want to blame somebody, like I said, is blame some of the state governments in India, like the West Bengal government. Blame the police in India who are not doing their job, but don't blame Indian culture. Don't blame Indians. In Indian culture, is if they actually find out a family member of theirs is involved in scams, they're gonna exile them. They're gonna literally kick them out of the family. So literally blame the police, blame the some of the state governments, but don't blame Indians and don't blame Indian culture, because it's not fair to all of the hundreds of millions of hardworking Indians that never steal, never scam, and are just honest people. So that pretty much wraps up this video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. You have any thoughts for me down below? Leave a comment. I'll try to reply to as many people as I can. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.